Vaughn, you want to freestyle for us?
Okay. No, not today.
Okay.
Not feeling it.
Yo, I'm here with Vaughn. Gonna have a lot of fun. And I just wanted to say thank you for being here. 'Cause you know we gotta stick together. Gotta stick together. And I know it's hard out there. It's hard out there. But we're here for you. We're happy to see you on. Gonna have a lot of fun. When you're alone, just remember you gotta grow. Got Yin Young by your side, don't you know? We're here for you. We're here for you.
Wow, that's really good. Very
Yeah.
impressed. Very impressive.
Thank you.
All right, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
He's a creative one of the two.
Oh well,
Both of y'all creative.
you're creative in your own way, Dan. Oh, so format wise, it's kind of interesting because Vaughn has some questions for us. We got questions for Vaughn, and basically this is gonna be a double release, first time ever in Yin and Young Voncast history. I think.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think I don't know, Dan. I think we would just do a back and forth and just see how it flows. You know, kind of like sparring.
Sure.
Yeah. And we'll just go from there. Yeah. Vaughn, since you're the guest, I'd like for you to go first.
Sure.
Like anything you want to talk about real quick off the top?
Sure, I guess y'all can introduce yourselves about what you do and who you are.
Yeah. Sorry. So a professional meeting. Dan, go first.
I go first while you finish following with chewing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I am working as an independent contractor for a small tech company. I used to do a working in San Diego, but right now I'm working remotely from LA because I told them I'm moving back to LA. What else do I do? Pretty old. Just getting older every day. Used to do more martial arts, and these are giving out, so I don't do as much martial arts. Father of 2 kids. Wife is an actor, and also teaches acting.
Cool.
Yeah.
What type of martial arts do you do? Curious.
I started doing Choi Foot when I was 17 and became an instructor. And I continued doing Choi Foot. I do some Yang style Tai Chi with some push hands. I know 2 or 3 forms. The short form, the 40, and the short Tai Chi set, or Tai Chi Gim set. But my main focus is definitely Choi Foot, which is a southern kung fu system. It's not as well known outside Hong Kong, but San Diego has like 7 or 8 schools.
Wow.
So it's the main kung fu school down in San Diego.
One thing we might do. Oh, sorry, Dan. Technical.
Okay.
Yeah. I might sync the sound later.
Okay.
And I can
cool.
send you that file maybe,
Awesome.
and then you have to sync it to your video or something like that.
Okay.
Or I can edit because I know how to edit all this stuff.
Awesome.
So yeah. So then that way you can probably still like keep it like that. And oh, okay. Introduction of myself. Since we're just a golf martial arts. Well, first off, I'm the son of Taiwanese immigrants.
Okay.
My parents came over like in the 70s and late 70s, but I was born in the 80s in Milpitas.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I was born in the Bay Area. I was born close to Milpitas, but I grew up in Milpitas.
All right.
And you're from the Bay, right? So you know the South Bay. And I went to middle school, high school there. A lot of fond memories. And then from there, I started doing karate there. And I also started getting into like film. Maybe like I did some high school acting. I got into acting in high school. I did some plays there. And in college, I went to UC San Diego.
Okay.
And then I went there for my undergrad, and I did econ and I did a minor in theater, which is how I met Dan's wife actually.
Mm-hmm.
And basically from there, from there, I did some more acting. I wanted to do some more filmmaking, but then after that, I left UC San Diego, and I went to Taiwan because I wanted to live abroad, you know.
Right.
And I lived over in Taiwan for about 2 years studying Mandarin, and then from there, I still also studied some martial arts there as well. And from there, long story short, after that, I did some film producing. I lived in Australia for a year after college.
Okay.
After Taiwan, and then after that, went back to the States. I started taking like community college classes in film, something I want to get into. Eventually, I went to grad school for screenwriting, and then that's how eventually we met up through a mutual friend, and now we graduated the same year.
Yes.
Yeah. So Vaughn graduated from CSUN as well, Dan. And I graduated. Yeah, we both graduated in 2017. And I graduated with a master's in screenwriting, and now I've been kind of like just doing work and stuff. Right now I'm doing kind of like social media marketing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I do that, but on the side I'm doing the podcasting, and I also do some short filmmaking as well, like editing, stuff like that. So
Cool.
And writing, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Vaughn, let's see. I make
Vaughn,
music.
who are you?
I am Vaughn, also son of Filipino immigrants.
Okay.
Was born in the late 80s, born in 87. My parents came here, actually stayed in the Philippines for the first 7 years of my life. They were doing their thing here, and I stayed with my dad's late sisters
Wait, so you were born
in the Philippines.
in the Philippines, okay?
Lived there for 7 years,
Oh, okay.
and then I came here. My grandpa brought me over here. Lived in LA for a little bit, but then mainly lived in the Bay Area. Moved around from Burlingame, Napa to Walnut Creek area.
Okay, so your first memories of America are in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in LA for like about a few weeks, but then my actual going to school and everything, yeah, was in the Bay.
Okay, all right.
I didn't have an issue with English. Everyone, I was put in ESL just because I guess it's what you do.
Yeah.
As for students who just came from the Philippines, but Philippines they really teach you English pretty well. So I came here with no accent, nothing. They're like, this guy doesn't need to be in ESL. He just speaks English.
Right.
But it was definitely a culture shock, just because you go from you only know Filipino people to you see different cultures. I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, white area.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I mean, but there's definitely diversity, but it was definitely my first exposure to, white people, Latino people, African Americans, Chinese, other Asians. But I think I adapted pretty well, But over time, unfortunately, I lost how to speak Tagalog and Kapampangan over time. So did that, came to school here at CSUN when I was 18, out of high school. I'm moving because I have family here.
Okay. So your immediate family is still in the Bay.
Just my dad and my stepmom, but
Okay.
everyone else is down here.
Okay.
And then
Is your mom down here? Or?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So with that, went to school, took some breaks, and I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm curious then, like going off of that,
Mhm.
this idea of home, right?
Yeah.
You talk about home. Like, what do you call home? I guess.
Let's see. Home to me is just like, I don't know. Home is like, some people say home is where the heart is.
Okay.
But to me, home is just like where I stay right now. I rent this
Home
room.
is where the heart is.
I rent out this room in North Hills. To me, that's like home for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to like go home to like the Bay sometimes, but I like my alone self-care time for the most part.
All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Dan, any questions?
Do you do any martial arts?
He asked me that too. Back then in 3rd grade, I remember I visited Hawaii with family. I took Okinawa Kempo,
Okay. All right.
which is a form of karate, I believe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kempo, Dan, Kempo and karate are they're like similar, right? Or like.
Well, there are different types of karate, right? Like Shotokan, there's Goju-Ryu, there's all those other offshoots of karate,
Yeah.
and Kyokushin. Kempo basically means boxing. You know, Ken was like the type of martial art, I guess.
Oh yeah, Ken Po. Okay, yeah.
So I did that, and I also took kickboxing the year after in Hawaii. I got pretty fit, man. I remember what killed me was the 20-minute jump rope warm-ups.
Damn. All right.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah, so that's how kickboxing always started. And then towards like the few weeks before I graduated CSUN, I got a membership at UFC. I tried out Muay Thai, ran out of money, but it was very rigorous. Once again, the jump ropes was like always my thing, cardio. I mean, I did running in high school, but jump rope was tough, and I guess like it's hard to like keep kicking like with your shins and like conditioning them and like punches. But
Yeah.
if I have the money or just the effort or the energy and time, I definitely want to try it again because it's such a good stress reliever, and it's also good to you learn self-defense essentially.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, wait, sidebar. Yeah, going back to like Filipinos like knowing their English, like I was trying to chat up this girl on Instagram. She's like lives in the Philippines, and like, cause she wrote something about she wrote something that I really connected with, like something about her family.
Yeah.
I was like, oh dude, I really like that article, and like, you know,
Yeah.
and she looked kind of cute too, you know, like this, you know, come on,
I know what's
you know, it's like,
I feel you. Yeah.
it's like, you're like, can we comment? Is it okay to comment on women's
that's
beauty?
Cool.
Like,
that's cool.
I
Yeah.
mean, like, okay, anyways.
Yeah.
So I was just like chatting her up, and dude, like her English is like basically native. So I was just like, dude, like, damn, the Filipino education system in English is like on point.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know.
I would say that outside of the U.S., Filipinos are the most assimilated to U.S. culture just because of the Western presence since
Right,
World War
the
II.
war, yeah.
And I mean, there's definitely ups and downs about that, but nurses, most nurses are Filipino, and I think a lot of Filipinos in the Philippines, they get out here because to do nursing.
Fading out. James.
Yeah. What's that? Yeah, I'm hearing like some like sound on your end too. What is that?
Your audio is going in and out.
All right. Can you turn off your video actually then? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, turn off your video. And then see if that helps. Does that help any better?
Kind of.
Kind of, not really.
Yeah, when you said, does that help? And I was like, does that help? And I missed the help. I had to just assume that that's what you're asking me.
Okay, can you hear me now? Like,
you sound muffled.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, we might have to switch the headphones maybe. Let's see.
Maybe.
What's it? Yeah, because there's some sound coming off of your end too.
Well, for me, I have my windows open.
Oh, and Ron's cleaning? Okay,
He's done.
he's done. Okay.
Yeah, any sounds you hear are just the wind.
Okay. Let's keep going. If it becomes like a problem, like if it happens again and again, then we'll switch the headphones.
Okay.
Yeah. Just hit me up. Let me know. So going back. So let's take it back. So this section I want to call the biography section.
Okay.
What I kind of want to get is a little bit about Vaughn, your biography, a little bit, kind of like the questions that you sent me about your kind of upbringing,
Yeah.
and your I guess how it led you to like your passions, which are hip hop and podcasting. It
Yes.
seems right now. So
Yeah.
let's start off. So you were in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Now in the Philippines, from 0 to 7, I guess.
Mhm.
Now at that point, and you're the only child.
Yes.
Were there inklings there in, and let me know if this gets too personal,
No,
but like, so you grew up with your mom and your dad, they were together at that point?
They were, yeah, but I didn't live with them. They were here in America.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't know them for the first 7 years of my life, essentially.
Damn.
Yeah. So there is that disconnect. I mean, I don't remember much in the Philippines at all. It's weird. From 0 to 7, I don't remember much till I got here.
Wow.
But I mean, like it was cool. Like I didn't complain. I had friends and everything. I don't remember anything too traumatic in the Philippines. But when I got here, they told me they were divorced. But I didn't know them like that, so like it didn't bother me. They kept saying it's not your fault. I'm like, dude, I just met you guys. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. So to me, it was like, okay, that's fine. You know, I had a white stepmom. She was cool. But So with that, I think, kind of fast forward now, I never really had that connection with my parents, as like maybe other people did, because I guess in the first founding years, your first few years, foundation years,
Yeah.
I didn't know them. So like, I don't know. I mean, we're cool. I respect my parents. They're great. It's just I don't have that intimate bond with them.
Because those first 7 years, so you were raised by
My grandfather's sisters, but they passed away. One passed away.
So you were like real close with them, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So your great aunts. I
Yeah,
guess, huh?
great aunts. So that was pretty much it. And then you know, school was fine. Let's see, I was a decent student. I wasn't great. You know, I was like
Elementary in
elementary
Philippines or
here.
or here. Okay, yeah.
Elementary, I did alright. I was never good at math.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
debunking the Asian stereotype. I was good at English and writing.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Let's see. How I left.
Let me check in with Dan. Dan, sound okay so far? Dan.
Yeah, sound is much better.
Awesome.
Okay, great, awesome. All right, yeah. So sorry. So English, you found out at a young age, like 8, 9, that was more of your stronger suit.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I mean, no offense to people who are like good at math. That's
I wish
all
I was
good.
good. Yeah.
But go ahead. Yeah.
And then fast forward to that, I moved around. It was just tough moving because you meet certain friends and they have to move again. So that was kind of tough. But I think in middle school, towards the end of middle school is when I discovered hip hop. A relative of mine said, "Hey, maybe you should try rapping because you rap the songs on the radio."
Okay.
And I tried it, and then I kept at it, you know, and 16 years later, you know, I developed a skill for it. Took some breaks here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean,
So you've been rapping since
2001, 2002.
2001, 2002. How old were you then? Like.
I was probably like, I don't remember, man.
Yeah.
It was a while back.
Was it so high school? You would say like.
Yeah, I got into around then. That's when like 8 Mile came out and stuff.
Oh, 8 Mile. Shout out to 8 Mile.
Yeah. But so yeah, with hip
Mom
hop.
spaghetti.
Yeah, so I got into that. I just love like being able to express yourself in that nature, being able to express yourself with rhymes, and I just fell in love with the culture. I didn't have too many friends in high school for the first few years because once again I moved from middle school to high school kind of thing,
Oh.
a different place. So I listened to music as so I kind of get by kind of thing.
This is all in the Bay, or
Yeah, in the
okay,
Bay,
in the
yeah.
Bay. So you moved around from middle school to high school to a different part of the Bay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
got you. Yeah.
And then yeah, you know, and I was in a couple of rap groups throughout that time period. One here, one in NorCal. But it stopped for me when both of them kind of disbanded and I came to college. I didn't know anyone who made music. The technology we had in front of us wasn't available.
Yeah.
So I just took kind of a break from like writing. So I just kind of focused on college and like school life and just social life. And then yeah, that's pretty much. Or should I just keep going for?
I mean, so something that I'm always curious about is like so 8 Mile, like what were the works or the people? It doesn't even have to be famous people. Maybe your teacher or something that really said, "Oh shit," you know, turned you on into a rap game or turned you to creative writing or anything like that.
Man.
Because for me, like I know, like I was always kind of like a wild kid. Like I was always kind of like
Yeah.
energetic. You know, I remember I went to Taiwanese camp and I'd like, dance all crazy on the dance floor. I calmed down a bit eventually, but like I think it was probably in high school. I want to say. I mean, I always liked like cartoons and stuff, and like I remember my dad was trying to like. I forget. I might have been like 8 or something like that, really young, and he's trying to cut my hair. But there was like, The Wizard of Oz was on TV, and I was just like, whoa, this is crazy. And I kept trying to get out of my seat, trying to watch Wizard of Oz between, you know, and my dad's like, dude, stay still, right? And he got mad at me. But that Wizard of Oz, when I saw it as a kid, I was like, what the hell's going on? This is like magic, right? And then, but then I think what really got me into filmmaking was, we talked about this, was like Evangelion, right? When I saw like that anime, that I was like, dude, I didn't know this is crazy. Like it's like really intricate story and character arcs. And then another film for me was Edward Yang's Yi. It's a Taiwanese film about a Taiwanese family growing up. Basically, all these parallel stories of the father, the daughter, the son, and the wife, and basically how their stories interconnect. And they're each going on their own path, you know. So like, was there works like that, or like people? Also in high school, I had some really awesome teachers. Like I had a philosophy teacher, Mr. Hanley, was really awesome. Like opened my mind about different ways of thinking, and then Mr. Colburn about like writing and stuff like that, music. Yeah.
I guess for me at the time it was like the Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, a lot of East Coast hip hop for me. I never resonated too much with West Coast too much. I mean, I love the music, but to me, I like the East Coast kind of hip hop in the mid '90s or late '90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
And then going to underground rap, such as we mentioned, Atmosphere.
Yeah.
So around that kind of music, really got me into it. I was super into like the lyrical, heavy, dense kind of music, and now it's totally opposite. I like the more fun type of music.
Okay.
You know, just because making music like that for me, I mean, I liked it, but I just never feel like I had fun. I always had to compete. Oh, what can I say that'll be so much more clever? You know, but now it's more like the energy, the vibe. I have fun recording. I laugh. I have smile when I record. Before it was super serious.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So with that, there's that, and then let's see. That's how I got into hip hop. Yeah.
So like big artists for you, like if you were to say at that time, I'm not saying now, at that time, like was it Jay-Z, Nas, Eminem, okay.
Like those are just like the really mainstream ones.
Dan, you down with rap?
Yeah, I don't have too many rap albums actually.
That's
I
alright.
yeah.
No worries.
That's all good. But you did some. You were into rock for a little bit too, right?
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, I had an emo. Oh my god, I forgot about this. I still am.
Yeah.
I had the big scene emo phase.
I got deep into emo.
Really?
Like Dashboard Confessional.
Yeah.
Saves
Did you have
the
long
Day.
hair?
Nah, I just wore like kind of like button up shirts and the geek glasses and
Okay.
stuff like that. I was into Weezer, you know, for a while. Yeah.
All right.
Weezer, the Get Up Kids. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Get Up Kids, Saves the Day. But that was my shit. Like that was my scene. Yeah.
For me, it was like long hair, the girl jeans, the tight shirts, My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, Academy Is. Man, that was like how did I forget? That was like for me. That music was able to express at the time what hip hop couldn't, which is being more emotional.
Right.
Because at the time, hip hop was just like at the time from what I listened to, it was like a very hyper masculine, which nothing wrong with it. It's cool. It's a good music. It was very aggressive.
Yeah.
But this kind of music, this alternative emo music,
Okay.
it's okay to like be emo. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel angsty. And you know, when you're growing up being all rebellious and feeling rebellious, the whole world against you, this music was just my thing.
Oh,
you know,
damn,
it was
okay.
the Fall Out Boy, the Academy Is, Thursday, The Used, Paramore. Like,
This was like high school for you?
yeah, this is high school. This was high school, man. This was
You
like
ever
towards the
learned
end.
like any guitar or drums or anything like that?
I
or?
didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
But you got the flow though. You got
Yeah. But yeah, that was something for me, man. Like that was just open a different path, and then you know, for me, I had a different like hard time identifying like music wise what I was like. Well, back then it was hard to like listen to rock and like be a rapper. Now it's more acceptable. Back then I was like, it's weird.
Okay.
You know, so people I dressed all seen in emo and then I rap. Oh, you don't look like the type of rapper that I'm used to seeing. You know. So yeah, there's that. But
I mean, music's music, right? And like what connects with you, and it could be any genre, it could be anything. Yeah.
I think now it's more acceptable with internet and it's more acceptable. But back then, I don't feel like, oh, either you're a rock kid or a rap kid, and I felt like both genres at the time were kind of pitted against each other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why? Yeah.
But okay, enough about me. Let's start with one of y'all. I don't know who.
I got deep into music wise, like I kind of like classical as a kid, like Candy Pachelbel, right?
Mhm.
And I remember listening to like, what's his name, Coolio.
Yeah.
He did like Gangster's Paradise with the Canon de Pachelbel over that. I was like, dude,
that's classical in the background.
I think not Gangster's. He did another song where it had like some classical in the background. But I play a little piano, some guitar, obviously. But like I didn't really. I think what got me like really into music was like that whole phase, like the emo phase, like Weezer, Ozma, the Get Up Kids. Something to Write Home About. I think that's almost like that's pretty much a perfect album. Like every song and the way it builds is like freaking like awesome, right? And that kind of got me into like wanting to play guitar. So like I made like this really amateur album when I was 19. Like after my first, I think it was my second year of college. I just like fuck. I really want to. I got some ideas. What it was there's this girl in Ozma, like the keyboardist in Ozma Star, and like I was just like I saw her at a concert and I got infatuated. Dog. I got really like, dude, this girl's so cool. Like she's playing keyboards. So I wrote a song for her. Like I remember like I was with my homie and who was also into that scene, and I was coming back from college. We went to go get In-N-Out. And I think we just came back from the concert, and I was just like, "Fuck, I'm inspired." So I took the placemat from like the paper placemat, and I started writing lyrics to that to a song for her. And I think I'm more mature now. Like I understand again what's the difference between like it's still tricky, but it's hard. There's that where is that line between infatuation and real like honest love, and that line is blurry, right? So that's when I got deep into so I made an album when I was 19, a couple songs there, and then I've always kind of kept on and off. I was in a band like when I went to Taiwan. I was in like a 2-person band with we were street performers.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I played with my homie Jim. What up, Jim? With my homie Jim, and we played like Oasis songs, Coldplay songs, and then we wrote some of our own stuff too. We were called the Night Lights. Yeah. So, but it wasn't until recently I got back into music. Like I took a long break, focused on filmmaking and stuff like that, and acting. But just more recently, I've been this is just hobby stuff. Like I'm just playing for my own relaxation. Like before I go to bed and stuff, play a couple like acoustic stuff for myself. I don't really. Maybe I'll record something, but for me, it's more like mental health for me right now. It's just playing some music, and also I think the music now, like hip hop, and with the emo stuff, like kind of like there's like a I don't know if you noticed this, but I think there's a huge throwback to the 90s right now. Like a lot of these emo indie rock kids, like I got into Phaser Days. She's like really good. Another infatuation, she's like super cute too. But and also like I've been into Now. That's another band coming out. I mean they've been out, but they came out with a new album. So, and yeah, it's just like their music it's like kind of it's triggering these memories of me growing up in the 90s. You grew up in the 90s too, right? And I'm just like, damn, it's like touching into that kind of that emo feel. So and freaking like as far as hip hop and like the mix, like 88 Rising. Have you listened to any of their stuff? Like Rich Brian or Joji or. Okay,
so is it a record label? I'm confused.
It's a multimedia company.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? I got a negative impression of Rich Chiga from his first song, That Stick. But I know he's changed. He's developed, but I haven't really.
Rich Brian. Yeah.
I haven't listened. I've heard of his name, Joji. I've seen him around, but I haven't listened either.
Okay, he's like R&B-ish. Yeah, mix. So like. He does some indies. Yeah, it's interesting mashup. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Dan,
what about you?
Dan, any musical stuff on your end, or you're more of a film guy?
I'm more into film and TV.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about your upbringing and like I guess your biography with like how you got into film and TV and martial arts possibly.
As far as I mean, I don't do anything creatively in the film and TV world. I'm just a sales guy in the tech.
That's cool.
Yeah, but as far as upbringing, I'm definitely a generation ahead of you guys. So I grew up in the 80s. I watched a bunch of cartoons,
right?
Like Transformers and G.I. Joe, and even some older stuff like in LA for a few years. My parents got divorced. We moved down to San Diego, and I mostly grew up in San Diego.
Okay.
But as far as film and TV is concerned, I like to watch a lot of comedies these days.
Like what?
I like Blackish.
Okay.
I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine still. I mean, the first season was probably the best one. I like I'm Sorry.
Mm.
I really like that show. I don't know if you guys know about it, but it's on True TV, but it's one of those most fucked up shows. Kind of like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Right.
Kind of.
Interesting. Okay.
And right now I'm just trying to catch up on everything since I've been moving from San Diego to LA again, back to my house. And
Okay.
I'm way behind on a bunch of shows.
So I think one thing I meant to ask is you're a father. What's it like? I'm sorry. How old are you? I'm just curious.
45.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like our age. I thought this guy was younger than me. He's a little older. I'm 30. He's in his mid-30s.
Yeah.
But I thought you were like our age or my age. From the pictures I saw, oh, okay, he looks like, you know.
Asians, what's up?
Yeah.
Asian genes.
I have gray hair and I'm like wrinkles.
So talk to us about like fatherhood. I mean, what was it like when you had your first kid or when you found out you're having a kid?
The first thought in my mind was I have to make more money.
Right.
Yeah, that is like the first thought. And fatherhood is you start worrying before the kid comes, you start panicking, and start getting rid of a lot of things. Well, at least for me, I started getting rid of everything as much as I can. They call it nesting nesting in general, but girls start putting things together and getting rid of things, and guys kind of do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through that whole phase, but once the kid comes out, it's the first 2 months, or first month at least, you're just constantly tired, unless you're one of those fathers who just like, you really can't do anything except change a diaper.
Right.
And the kid needs to be fed every 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I try to be supportive that first week, and woke up with my wife.
Yeah.
But you're just really just sitting there staring at her, breastfeed the kid. So I just kind of gave up and just went slept. But whenever the kid needed to get changed, I just got up and change the kid. As far as father, it changes your outlook on things.
How so?
You definitely have to think about them. Well, you're no longer thinking about just yourself.
Right.
And it's different when you're the friends that you keep or that you hang out with, because when you're single, your friends who are married and have kids, they start hanging out with other couples with kids, because the other couples with kids understand the schedule.
The struggle, yeah.
It's a struggle with the schedule more than anything. So they're a little bit more understanding if you're like 30 minutes late because something happened on the way.
Interesting. And how was it like when you had your second kid? Were you more prepared, obviously, just, okay, I kind of been through the rodeo, or is it something totally new?
It's the second kid's much easier in that regard. You're less anxious, because with the first kid, they call it the anxiety kid.
Right.
So you're always like worrying, making sure that the kid doesn't eat anything funny or wash their hands, all that crap. But with the second kid, the kid was eating stuff off the ground and build up his immunity.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And how old? What's the age gap between your first and second child?
2 years.
2 years.
They're like 25 months apart.
Okay. How old are they?
5 and 3.
Okay. Do they get along, or is it kind of a mixed bag?
Oh, they definitely get along. They usually play together. They got to that age, so once the younger kid turns 3, there's more interaction. So this past year, they're just talking and playing toys with each other, which is great, because when I am cooking or whatever, they will play with each other, and then I listen in on your conversation, and I try to join in, and they get pissed off, and it's like, we're playing. Don't bother us.
Wow.
What do they talk about? I'm curious.
They play with stories. I mean, right now they're into Transformers and dinosaurs, so they're like doing stories with the dinosaurs or the Autobots doing things or something.
Dude, that's my shit, dog. I used to do that all the time when I was a kid. Yeah.
Same here. I read action figures, and I would like have them fight and everything. Are your kids, are they savvy with iPhones and whatnot, or you don't give them access for that yet?
Very, very limited
Good.
access.
I think that's great.
Because I want them to be bored sometimes.
Right.
And it forces them to play with their toys and make imagination that way.
Yeah,
rather than just sitting in
creativity.
front of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
No, I believe in that because
Yeah.
like I think when I was bored, like some of this I film directing, right, and I basically a lot of those skills that I had were kind of formulated when I was a kid playing with these toys. Like I had this whole story arc. I had this one Lego guy who wore a green. It's like this cheap little Lego guy with a green shirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like he was the most powerful out of all of the guys, and he became the villain. Like I had this whole story arc where everyone had to beat this guy, and basically that's like the Thanos storyline in Infinity Wars or something like that. So like
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of the stories telling skills and stuff like I developed from being bored. I don't know, Dan, if you've had a similar experience, but or if you but like I and also they're doing studies now about like social media and like electronics and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically having fragmented attention throughout the day.
Yeah.
It leads to depression,
Mhm.
and also like extended periods of time on Instagram or Facebook
Oh my god.
can lead to like the patterns of judging and
Yes.
comparing yourself, and
Yeah.
it's really I notice it. Like I know, like I'll be on Instagram late at night sometimes. I'll be looking at I'll be on it for maybe like 7 minutes, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm getting kind of depressed right now.
Yeah.
I'm getting kind of like this is kind of getting me sad for some reason,
Mhm.
and I stop.
Yeah, I look at memes now on Instagram. So
I
now
see,
it's-
dude. If you guys don't see this guy has a heart meme tattoo.
Yeah.
I'll get a photo later, but like,
Yeah, I love memes. I think memes have made a positive impact on my life because I never before that I never really laughed too much, but I wake up in the morning, I get memes from friends and I send them back, and laughter is the best medicine, they say.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I just laugh. It's just funny, and I've been into it for like 6 years, and it's just made my day. I laugh, and it's a way to relate to people.
yeah.
But so yeah, going back to your kids, it's crazy because I do retail and I see kids on strollers with phones, and in a way they're technology. They're good at technology. They're savvy with technology.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like that's what they're hooked on. You take that away, they cry and everything. Before we just had toys. Back then we had toys, or we had imaginary friends, action figures. So I that's a great move on parenting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough because at some point or another it's easier.
Yeah.
It's so easy just to like turn on the TV and let them watch something while you get something, but they become zombies.
Yeah.
At least the older one.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah. Because I remember I visited you, and like I think you had Toy Story on, and then like once you put that movie on, they just sit like zombie. And I would, real talk, I was the same way. Like going back to that Wizard of Oz story, like I would like, I could watch a movie and like zombie out like for reals. And in some way, on the positive, like you're learning from the movie if it's
Yeah.
a good movie, but at the same time, it's like I think it's moderation, right? They talk about how Buddhists, they talk about like moderation.
Mm-hmm.
Even moderation it has to be in moderation.
Oscar Wilde, I think said that.
Yeah, Oscar Wilde said, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, I didn't know that.
I think everything has to be in moderation, including moderation.
Moderation. Sometimes you can wild out. Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay.
So yeah, can I switch?
Sure.
Let me.
Sure.
Before Dan, did you have any questions for Vaughn, real quick?
What are you doing these days? You're in retail doing what?
I do retail, sales associate, but I've been making music for a while now. It's became serious. It's interesting. 6 years ago, I stumbled upon this group, Brown Bag All Stars. They're from New York, and over time I became cool with one of the people. Now two of them, and over time we just like message each other. I just love their music. I never said like, yo, check out my music on that kind of shit. I just like, hey, I love your music, man. Like, can you give me a story of these lyrics? Or, you're in New York. You were at this peak of New York when all this stuff was going down. Can you tell me more about that kind of thing? And I was just cool becoming friends with him. more recently, hey, like let me check out your music. Oh, that's kind of cool. Like maybe if you do this or that, and he asked, and then he started giving me like little tasks, like, hey man, like check this out. Let me know what you think. To early this year, he goes, hey, like I'm starting up my own record label / collective. Do you want to help me out in the business aspect? Like, you want to be my personal assistant? You want to help me with emails? You want to make videos for my songs? That kind of stuff. It's a good way for you to get into the industry, and also, you help out and everything. And I said, hell yeah. I still haven't gotten paid, but it's not the point. The money to me never mattered. It's a shock. It's surreal to work with one of your idols. And then now it's like, hey, do you want to be part of the label? I'm like, fuck yeah, hell yeah,
okay.
So he's been heavily instrumental in helping me out with music. I record music, I send it to him, he gives me feedback, he tweaks little things here and there. So there's that. Podcasting, I got into it because I love listening to people's like stories. I guess we go into like podcasting, how we got into it later on. And also too, I started helping out at a tattoo shop, like about last semester. So there's that. I went in there. I like the people. They like me. I kept going there over time. Hey, do you want to help out? Like, we can't pay you, but we can help you out with like tattoos and stuff, and kind of give you discounts. And so I put in so much hours there, because after graduation I didn't work. I just helped out there. Became good friends with the people there. Went through tattoo.
Post-grad depression.
Yeah, but it's fun though, man. I mean, like I got to see a different side of tattoo artists, their perspective.
Because I just sorry to interrupt,
okay.
but it's kind of like it's interesting how everyone talks about post-grad and like this idea of post-grad depression, but I think it's kind of more like a post-grad search. Well, I guess post-grad awakening or post-grad search, where it's like this. Okay, outside of the system of school, how can you shape your life? Because that's and for some people, schools it does not for them, which is fine. Like, and some of the most successful, if not the most successful people in the world, did not like school.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. We hear these stories, but like, I mean, they're like outliers though, right?
Yeah.
But like but I think this idea of you like, no, it's kind of like you're finding your path. But if you can see, guys, Vaughn has some tats, right? A few. And you got your knee one recently, right?
Knee one,
tiger. Oh wow.
I got my shin redone. Yeah.
Okay.
I got a handful.
Nice.
I
Okay.
like tattoos.
All right. Because it's kind of like it's interesting. It's like this. Sorry, it's getting a little philosophical, but like we were born into like certain systems, right?
Yeah.
Either it's like you're born in the Philippines. I was born in the Bay Area, and there's a certain social construct or society rules, right?
Yeah.
Aristotle talks about like you're born into society, right? And you have to follow the rules of society to live in that set. Like you're not going to go punch a cashier in the face or something like that, right? But that's the cool logic. But going back to that, but like it's kind of like once you're outside of a certain construct like school, it's like, oh shit, how can I shape my life now, right? And so it seems like for you gravitate towards your passions, tattooing, music, obviously. Yeah. That's dope. Like I didn't know, like, so that collective you're part of, like he's one of your idols that you looked up. That's great. That's dope, man.
Yeah, and it was never the intention of me like making music with him. I just was a fan and just became friends. I think that's one reason why he understood, like, okay, he's really into it. He's not just out here to like become like a musician kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there is that, and it's about
Yeah, so what I'm kind of curious is that, so we're going to go back and forth, guys. Get used to it.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of curious about your Asian American Studies path.
Oh, right.
So, so Dan and I, on our podcast, and your podcast as well, we talk a lot about a lot of issues, but what's interesting is that what I think why we got into podcasting, just briefly, is that, like, Dan, I'll speak for myself, like, I got really into, like, DVD ASA, that's a David Cho.
Oh my god, me too.
Dude, really?
DVD, yeah, I was heavy.
Awesome. DVD ASA forever.
Let me, after this, I'm going to show you a picture of me and Asakura.
I got a picture of her too.
No shit.
Yeah. She went to the Northridge, I think, I don't know if I can say, but I think she lives like
She's
in
in
this.
the valley.
She's in the valley.
She's
You
in
can
the
say
valley.
she's in the valley.
She's in the
I mean,
valley.
come on, there's a lot of porn stars in the valley. So
Because I was getting a tattoo. I took a break next door at the Poke Spot. I saw this Asian chick pull up in a Mercedes station wagon SUV. And I'm like, no.
was she driving herself?
Yeah, I was like, nah, it can't be. She walked in. I'm like, that's her probably.
Yeah.
I was so nervous. I didn't say anything. And the artist, she was like, do you want to get a picture with her? I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of shy. She was, excuse me. He wants to get a picture with you.
Yo.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my god, awesome. I'm like, hey, big fan. Cool. I love you. I love your stuff. I love your candles. Big fan of your candles. Because she makes candles. She makes great candles. And then she was a little shorter than I thought, but she's cool.
She's so dope. Like I met her at the Northridge Mall. I'm like,
how?
Wait, she was at the store, and I was just like, at the store I was at, and I was just like, is that her? I was walking. I was going to get some food. And I was like, oh fuck, I'm pretty sure that's her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, should I circle back? I'm like, fuck it, yeah. I'm gonna circle back. I made sure, and I'm like, hey, and I'm like, hey, I'm a big fan of DVD ASA. Like real talk, like I've seen some of her like video work, and like I've seen her video work, and it's all right,
it's cool, it's cool.
But like I cut like when I was 29, a couple of years ago, I cut porn out of my diet.
Wow.
It's out of my diet now.
Good for you.
So but like, dude, I think I connected with her a lot more. I mean, like her work in video, like she wins all those AVN awards.
Yeah.
But her work as a podcaster, she really plays off well with like David Cho and all the other guests on that DSA show. And like I thought, like, dude, she's a cool girl, and
I think the podcast humanized her.
Yeah, and
wow, that's so cool. So I'm sorry. So back to
DVD ASA, and Dan actually listens to DVD ASA as well, and and we actually had Bill Poon, one of the DVD ASA guys, on our podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, I can send you a link,
okay.
but it was so because we worked together on a project before, and so talking to him was kind of surreal. It's like, dude, I've listened to you already. But anyways, I heard podcasting, and also I was listening to other shows like on NPR and stuff like that. I was like, dude, this kind of radio, this format of storytelling. And I know Kevin Smith got really deep into it as well, and I liked some of his earlier work. But like I was just like, dude, podcasting seems pretty dope.
Yeah.
Like as a way of filmmaking is pretty tough. Like you need so many different resources. You can shoot on your phone and stuff like that, but you still got it. I think podcasting is a very direct way of telling a story that's definitely like something I enjoy. I think music too is a great way to tell stories as well. But I think podcasting is a format of our generation that's just like taken off. But Dan, real quick, like some podcasting influences for you.
Definitely Smodcast.
It's Kevin Smith, right?
Yeah, Kevin Smith. And I remember that way back when, and they had the Smodcast over on Santa Monica Boulevard. I always wanted to go, but I never went. And then Bill Simmons, one of the first pioneers kind of podcasting.
Okay. Cool. And
what made you want to get into it? What was so enticing for you that you wanted to become more than a listener? Hey, I feel like I can start my own, or be with someone and start our own podcast.
Yeah, I tried podcasting with a different friend, but it just never worked out, the timing wise.
So you met me, dog.
Yeah.
Yin and Young.
Yin and Young.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think Dan and our personalities work well together. I mean, I don't know. I'm not speaking for you, Dan. I'm speaking for myself, but
Don't speak for me.
But I think we play off each other well. And,
I agree.
I look up to Dan kind of like as a bit of a mentor as well, and I think I offer something to Dan. I don't know if I do, but I think I offer some perspective here and there. But I'm curious, like, what were some of your influences for podcasting then and now, actually?
So for me, I got into podcasting mainly because of the music. I like hearing the stories about artists I listen to,
for sure,
or just what's going on. And to me, it was like it gave them more a humanizing effect, because when they make music, it's not really their real life most of the time.
Okay.
So hearing them behind the microphone talking about how they got into music, their upbringing, it's sort of inspirational in a sense. Like I can relate to certain things, or now I know what to do in certain situations, music-wise. And to me, it's just, I love the culture, so I like to hear the behind the scenes.
do you know any like is specific artist podcasts that you listen to or that you would recommend or
Well, the first founding podcast of hip hop was Juan Epstein. It was Cypher Sounds and Peter Rosenberg, and then there was one called the Combat Jack Show. Unfortunately, Combat Jack passed away, but those two podcasts were huge impact on the hip hop podcasting because they spawned so many different ones.
Nice.
But my favorite one probably is called No Jumper.
No Jumper, okay.
So that one, it was originally a BMX podcast. It became like a hip hop podcast, and like anyone else in the up and coming scenes, they'd be on that. So to me, what I like about that one is it broke new artists.
Nice.
I learned about new artists, and to me, like that's why I kind of wanted to do my show, just to like break new people or just like really learn a story, because I learn a new thing about people all the time through podcasting.
Right.
And in Asian American studies, we learn like give something, provide something for your community that it's not there. To my knowledge, there wasn't too much podcasting. I found out yours, but there's not too much in the area that I knew about, or just like that spoke to specific like underground artists or just up and coming artists or just past music, like talking to skaters, painters, actresses, that kind of thing. So to me, it is that it creates a dialogue, and to me, it's a form of networking. And the benefits for the guest is like, hey, you can put on your resume, whatever your resume is. Hey, I've been on a podcast.
Right.
That still sounds pretty legit. Like, oh, you're on a podcast. Oh my God.
You're on a show.
You're on iTunes. You're on iTunes. You're on YouTube. You're on this and that. I mean, to look at yourself up, to look at your show on iTunes or Apple Music and show that to people, like, oh shit, this person's doing something.
Right. It's like it's not that you have to have that validation, but it's not bad.
It looks good on your resume.
It looks good.
Resume.
Yeah.
It looks really good. Like you have a podcast.
And I think for me, it just comes out of like, I remember like I was in my last semester of CSUN, and I was just like, and I was working on building this podcast, and I was just like, and I was kind of like procrastinating on my assignments, but like fuck, it was dope. It's kind of like, oh shit, like this, it's coming from a place of love. It's coming from this place of like this passion, And it's like I'm watching like Masterclass right now with Martin Scorsese, and like he talks about, dude, like one of the key things is having that passion or of a story to tell, And the thing is, it's not easy. Like you gotta stoke the fires,
Yeah.
Sometimes you lose that passion, but you gotta kind of like poke the embers.
Yeah.
So circling back to Asian American Studies, like you said, that for you, from coming out of high school, you took a break for a while, right?
Yeah.
Because you're kind of an elder statesman, so to speak, as far as undergrad, right?
Yeah. I took a break with music, and I think with that came like a fascination for drug use. Like I was 10 years, I was deep into drugs. I was able to
Which ones, if I may ask? Or you don't want to talk about publicly?
No, I don't want to talk about too much, but you can use your imagination, you're in college.
Right. Yeah,
it was more than weed. I never really liked weed to me in the first place. I did a lot of drinking and substance use, and to me, I realized in the podcast I did yesterday was because I stopped doing music. I felt discouraged, and I felt like I needed an outlet. I went from living with parents to just on my own. You were taught at a young age, don't do drugs, but then when you're that age, you're curious, and you're like, man, like, fuck the world. And to me, I just got hooked into certain things, and it lasted for 10 years, and I stopped. I stopped for the most part. I partake here and there, but I pretty much cut out drinking.
Yeah.
To me, drinking was bad because I'd black out and make stupid decisions and say stupid shit.
For
the next day, waking up, like, you know what you said to this person? Or I hate hearing that. I was always here, like, I woke up, oh, fuck. Who did I piss off? Who did I hurt? Like,
that's scary.
Emotional, yeah.
That's scary stuff.
But to me, it was just like it was an escape, because I think with my childhood, I went through definitely verbal abuse and physical abuse, and I think it's crazy in the statistics. It said like people who went through that as a child, they're more than likely going to use drugs. So for me, realizing that, and now like I think I was 29 when I realized I'm like, when I turned 30, I was high as fuck, getting loaded. I'm like, when I turn 30, I gotta fucking stop this shit. Because it's been 10 years, and like, at this age, it's like, well, either you're gonna, one or two things, you're gonna like keep doing it and like get in like financial like hazard, dangerous kind of thing.
Go to jail or die.
Yeah. And I've been faced with that before, and it's like, and also it affected my creativity. It's a reason why I did it was because I couldn't create. And I was like, whenever I couldn't write, I'm like, damn, I can't write. I want to get high. It's like, oh, maybe it'll unlock some sort of like creative power. Now I just got high as fuck. You know.
Kids, don't do drugs.
and if you do, I can't even knock on it. I can understand why a lot of people do it. They have some sort of trauma in their life. I say if you do, please use properly. As interesting as that might sound, there is definitely harm reduction. But in general, it's a short-term fix for a problem. You know, like it helps you with a problem up until the high runs out, and then now it's like you feel a lot worse, and like the problem's still there.
You know what's curious is that a lot of people have this romantic idea. To be creative, I need to drink. I need to do drugs.
Yes.
Ernest Hemingway was an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen King, for a long time, did a bunch of drugs before he got sober.
Yeah.
But he wrote in his book on writing that he can't fucking write when he's like barfing on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
You know. So like, I think that's a really strong misconception.
Yeah.
That are kind of like a lot of media romanticizes. Like,
Yes.
oh, people who do like these drugs. The thing is this, I think a lot of these people are, as the coin Kanye, are HSPs, right? They're highly sensitive people.
Yeah.
Highly sensitive people. And Gabor Mate, he was on the podcast with the Tim Ferriss podcast.
I heard about him. He talked about sobriety.
Yeah, he talks about, he's an addiction specialist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And essentially that what these drugs are, and also Russell Brand talks about this too, like these addictions, even sex, gambling, pornography. I was deep into pornography for a while. That's why I had to cut it out.
That's good for you.
But like, we're dealing with trauma, like childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I can only imagine like that separation that you have from your parents. That's like, you might not even consciously understand it. But like I was separated from my mom for like 6 months at a time sometimes, because she couldn't really take care of me at home. So my grandparents, I was staying in Taiwan. My grandparents helped take care of me in there. So like, but I love my grandparents.
Yeah,
like because of that, like, I eventually got, obviously I went back to the States at a young age. I reconnected with my parents, but like still, even those months away can create that abandonment. Like even now, I know with my dating stuff, like, or with women, it's hard for me to like try to, oh shit, am I like getting hella needy right now? Am I trying to like, am I just trying to like get her to validate me? Like that kind of stuff is something I'm conscious of. I think I'm, because of meditation and stuff, I think I'm more conscious of and aware of. But before, man, I was just like in these patterns of like, oh shit, they didn't text me back. I'm fucking, I'm not and stuff like that. Anyways, so you were deep in so when did that path lead to college, I guess?
Oh, I mean, like, so I got into it, like, I was good in high school. I think the first time I took ecstasy was like a senior prom at someone else's prom, which was like, I didn't feel it. I took it here and there in summer, but then college is when like I really started experimenting, because I barely drank in high school.
Okay.
I was a good kid in high school. I never did anything. I snuck out a couple times. And even my dad was like, I don't care if you sneak out. I just want you to be careful when you drink, And I even denied sneaking. I don't care. Like, do what you want to do, In that sense, like, it's part of it, But I got into it in college because I was like, wow, like, there's so much experience. Like, there's so much to do. And like, I just met certain people, like, hey, try this, try that, and that's cool, And I think there's nothing wrong with that. It's just when it becomes, when it comes from like occasional thing to like all the time. But what is occasional? What is all the time? I did drugs I thought I'd never do. I think it like made me kind of like, like maybe life experiences.
Yeah.
I never used any needles or anything. I was scared of needles, surprisingly.
Yeah.
But man. But I think that experience of like really being aware of it now has helped me become like who I am, and it kind of helped with my music kind of sense. But the romanticization of like doing drugs, certain points, I felt more creative, but not really. I think also just like use it to cope, man. Use it to cope with relationships and life, and it's interesting. Like I don't know if it's true or not, but like the most tortured artists make like really good music, and that's scary. Like they make. what's Kurt Cobain.
Okay.
That kind of stuff is like, it's interesting. Like the more tortured they are, they can express so much in their music, but it's in a sense it's kind of scary. Like
The 27 Club. Have you heard
yeah.
about that?
Oh,
Yeah.
I was scared. I was scared when I was 27. I'm like, yo, I gotta chill. I gotta really relax, because I thought like it could happen.
You know what it is? I think, and there might be a biological component to it. I'm not too sure, but one psychologist, Jordan B. Peterson, he's kind of like he's getting. I think he has some good ideas. He gets a bad rap for saying some maybe slightly right wing stuff, but overall, I think he's fairly intelligent writer. And he was on a podcast with Russell Brand, and they talked about the 27 people. Basically, Russell Brand went through a similar thing. Basically, I need to grow up or I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of people when they're in their late 20s, they kind of go through that. It's like, oh shit, I'm approaching 30. Can I continue this early 20s adolescence, or do I need to grow the fuck up?
Yeah.
And I know for me, my awakening was when I broke up with my ex, actually, in my late 20s. I thought like, oh shit, I think this was a girl I was gonna marry, but then she broke up with me, and I was just like, fuck, man, I didn't think about like, I don't think I've really seriously thought about suicide, but I talked about this before, but like, I have empathy for people who commit suicide, because basically they did studies about people who had been through a bad breakup and burn victims, and basically it's almost like the same pathways in the brain as far as like pain. So basically when someone's going through a breakup, it's essentially like almost the same feeling as getting fucking burned by fire. Yeah, and so I realized that shit, if I can't live without her, then fucking I can't live with her anyways, right?
Yeah.
And I think she kind of sensed that. I sensed, I bet it was the best thing that happened in my life is for us to break up, because we would not have been happy couple. I don't think so. So that was my wake up call.
Yeah.
So your wake up call was like, so then you're like in college, still deep into drugs. Okay.
Deep into drugs, and I was like, this is hindering me from my music, and I never got into music to do drugs. I got into music to make music, and
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So that was my awakening. What about you, Dan? Any comments on that, in that issue, in that realm? Any
Before
obstacles?
we delve deeper,
Any obstacles you had to face?
like how was your late 20s, Dan?
Yeah.
It was boring. It was just boring. I don't know what to tell you. I didn't try drugs.
Good.
I didn't smoke weed or try weed until like 2 years ago.
You're smart.
But I do know people who have had problems with alcohol, or not alcohol, with drugs, and it's messed up their life quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. The two people I'm thinking of, they're both bipolar now, and I don't know if it was drug related or whatever, but he definitely became bipolar in their late 30s.
Oh, really?
Early 30s, I mean.
That's good.
After having done drugs.
Huh.
Yeah. Any obstacles you faced? I mean, did you have any like midlife crisis around that point? Like, what you're gonna do after college, or any career issues? Like, did you want to? You are okay. Like, I mean, are you able to talk about anything? Anything like in particular that was like was an obstacle, but because you're able to overcome it, you became a better person in that sense.
I don't think I had quite those experiences. The only midlife crisis I have now is that I'm actually.
Shout out to my roommate who's passing through right now, getting on camera real quick. He's Filipino as well.
Hey, pare, kamusta ka? Ingat ka?
I don't know what they pancit or
Said some gang shit right now.
Oh.
I said what's up. So I'm sorry. So you said like, I mean, what is it now? I mean, like, I guess juggling being a father of two, work and a personal life. How is that?
It's rough. I graduated from business school thinking, life is going to be so much easier if I have work. But work was so much easier before business school.
Really?
Also,
Living in the Bay Area, once you get started in the Bay Area, you start making a lot of connections, and then when you're looking for a new job, you just ask around, and then a friend will always know if there's a job available, and you don't have to. I don't think I ever wrote a cover letter, and I just got interviews. Just sent over
Mm-hmm.
But down in LA, it's a different market. I'm writing cover letters. I'm trying to get connections, but I meet with some companies, but I'm not the right fit because they're looking for a lot of techies, and I'm not a programmer at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
What do you identify yourself as in that sense?
what's that?
Are you more of a salesperson or?
I'm more of an operations person than salesperson. I do sales. I've done sales before, and I'm doing sales now. But the sales I'm doing now is I'm more or less writing proposals.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like the actual work, I'm more of an operations guy, managing schedules and stuff.
So for those who don't know, like myself, what's the difference from operations and was it programming?
Well, programming, you're just coding all the time. You're writing the code for the software to happen, whether it's on iOS or Android,
Right.
Python, any of the many dozens of languages that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a developer, so I'm not a computer science guy.
Right.
I've seen this process. I'm not that good. I mean, when you're good, you're really good. But as far as operations, you're doing a lot of the back end stuff to make a company work.
Right.
So, doing project management, if something's coming through, you have to manage. You have to keep on top of the people who are doing the actual work. Like you're talking to the engineers. Hey, what's your schedule like? Are you meeting the deadlines? Are you going to meet it? Is there any issues with that? You talking to buyers, making sure that they purchase things on time and stuff like that.
You know, Dan, I'm kind of curious. You mentioned that you're going through like those midlife struggles now. Like, kind of give us a sneak peek because we'll be approaching that age eventually.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it might be specific to me.
Of course, yeah, it's a specific to each individual. Yeah.
You have to remember that when you're growing up and in a different era, you find a job after you graduate from college. You kind of stick through it for the next 40 years until you retire or whatever. But in this day and age, very few people have those jobs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look at my resume is all over the map. So because of that, it's hard for me to find another job that I really want and that I want to just enjoy doing, right?
Right.
That's the dream. But at this point, I'm struggling with, should I just get a good paying job or a decent paying job and suffer and just think of it as a job versus some people have careers. I know I have a cousin who knew from an early age she was going to be a doctor. She grew up to be a doctor, and that's a career. Versus what I do is I'm just hopping from one thing to the next.
Right.
I'm looking for that fit. And I go, this is it. This is my career.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of it has to do with more with the environment of the company. I've worked in toxic environments before, and I hated it. I remember one company, I went down to almost my college weight, and that means I was stressed out and not eating much and whatever.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, so right now I'm looking for a place where I can grow and be challenged, but also someplace where I fit culturally, like thought process wise.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There have been companies that are kind of an old boys network.
No, right.
Yeah.
And if you're a minority, probably even worse if you're a minority female, you just are not going to get any sort of traction.
Okay.
Right.
So, I mean, I think as a minority, like, I know, because we look kind of young for our age, right? And I know one of my homies, programmer, Bay Area, you know, he said he's got a good job, but like, there's a lot of like the older people generation at the company, white guys, and they treat him like a college kid, but he's like my age, he's in his 30s, like, and he's paid his dues, but so they talk about this like, bamboo ceiling, Dumb talks about that, and like, it's, I don't know, it's kind of real, because like, perceptually they look at you, they look young, oh yeah, this guy's not ready for management or whatever, but he's probably been working at that company for like, long ass time.
Right.
But anyways, I kind of want to circle back. So, what got you interested in Asian American studies then?
Man, I was switching majors. Like biology.
And you're also, was this also during the drug phase as well? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Damn.
All of this, my whole, I'd say this, my whole college career was a drug phase.
Class of 2017.
Hey, I got all A's last year, but towards the end. But so for me, I was switching majors, bio major to nutritionist to business marketing, because I felt this thing. Maybe I should do something to make my parents happy. Maybe I should pursue these majors because they will guarantee a safe job, something that's financially stable.
Yeah.
And then I realized I'm not happy. I'm failing constantly. Math classes, chemistry classes. These majors rely heavily on math and science. I took an AAS class just to take it as an upper GE, and I got like, wow, this speaks to me. I learned about Asian American identity. It was empowering. Long story short, you become quote unquote woke to issues today, to history about our people, because we don't learn about that in high school.
Yeah.
And I think learning about that is pretty empowering, And some people say, oh, like ethnic studies is racist. No, you learn about different cultures. You learn about, in this case, Asian American culture. Because there's a big difference from Asian culture and Asian American culture.
For reals, yeah.
I didn't want to delve into that, but in general, it spoke to me. The faculty and professors, they were human. They didn't care just about my grades. I was surprised when one was asking, so, how's life? I'm like, how's life? This has nothing to do with papers, school. I thought like, is he asking me because I'm doing bad? But he was asking about life. And to me, I was like, wow, this is a great program, great faculty, great colleagues. It stimulated my mind. I learned critical thinking in that sense. And it was just like, wow, this is my calling for college-wise. And my professors are so supportive of my music. It went from like one of the professors was like, oh, like they just asked me about random like school stuff back then, and she's the head chair now. She's like, oh, I started a music video. I'm like, holy shit, this is weird. So they're just a very supportive group, and I just learned about what I became passionate about. It seems like just well-being of others, and just being able to see situations in the world in a specific lens that you don't learn generally in college and high school unless like you take these courses.
Interesting. It gives you that kind of perspective that, because like real talk, us growing up in the 90s, the history we learn is all from a white perspective.
Yes.
Columbus discovered America?
Yeah.
Please, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Native Americans been here for thousands of years.
Yeah.
He didn't discover shit.
Yeah. And definitely it's empowering because we don't learn about ourselves. We see ourselves, we built the railroads. Oh, we know karate. Karate Kid, he's a white guy. We see ourselves in the media, 16 Candles. Our idol is like Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
And not all of us do martial arts, but it's cool if you can. Us Asian males, you see us, we're emasculated. Harold and Kumar, you see a good example. Like when you said the bamboo ceiling. Oh, give this guy all the work because he's Asian.
Yeah.
So seeing all of that, it kind of plays into our psyche as Asian men and just Asian Americans in general. So to me it's very fascinating, it's very interesting. I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. I saw myself whitewashed, was proud of it. But learning more about it, was kind of problematic because it's like, as white as we can see ourselves, at the end of the day we're not.
Right. And why? And it seems like where is that hierarchy? Why is white better?
Exactly.
Why is white, like more acceptable?
Yeah. Exactly.
They immigrants the same as us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, even the Eurocentric beauty standard for women.
Yeah.
I think in other countries it's a whole colorism thing. Like the lighter you are, the more it gives you more status in general.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff that really interested me. It's not math or science related, but it made me think. And you really think like, oh well, why is it like this or why is it like that?
Yeah.
Oh, now I see why certain situations are the way they are.
Yeah.
And also Asian American studies too, just also gave me perspective on, perspective of life or history of how African Americans are treated,
Yeah.
how Latinx are treated, and just like Middle Eastern are treated. So it just gave you this intersectional view, you know. So that's why I got into it, and I'm so glad because taking those classes, I went from getting D's, F's, and C's to getting all A's. I got
Nice.
one B, a B minus ever. Ever since that, I got to volunteering. I became more active and social, and like, you know, just making a difference, even if it's just one person. Kind
It
of thing.
spoke to you. That,
Yeah,
that-
it
those
spoke
stuff.
to me.
And I think what's important is that they talk about in Buddhism Sangha, right, the community, right? If you have I think that's how you pronounce it, but like, yeah, like, if you have really cool professors, like shout out to Professor Alan Aquino. You know, I sat in on a couple of AAS classes, Professor Aquino's class. I also took like a contemporary Asian American studies, and I gotta say about like the Asian American Studies department, dude, they're so like close knit and dope. I mean, I think my department, like the filmmaker, is pretty cool. Like
Yeah,
we're
definitely.
good,
Oh,
definitely, yeah. Everyone has their cliques, but like real talk, like, you know, I had a professor, you know, a white Jewish guy, and I made a comment in class about, you know, a person like their teeth. So it was like basically I made a comment in class, and he said, it was a critique, constructive criticism. I wasn't like trying to be negative or anything. And he's like, oh, do you think that because you're Asian? And I was like, well, he's trying to be funny, right? And okay, like this is like a rabbit
That's
hole,
okay,
but
yeah.
real quick, but like, what political correctness, right? It
Right.
depends on context, depends on the situation. The thing is, he's a professor,
Right.
all right, and he's, you know, and he thought that we were close enough. Like I was cool with him before
Yeah.
that, and we're still alright. But like ever since that, I'm kind of like wary around him because I was just like, what? And it was dope because one of my classmates, she's pretty woke. She's like, dude, that's pretty racist. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to do with anything. And
Yeah.
why is that even a joke? You know, why is
Yeah.
that funny? You know, so
Yeah.
so there is I think there's something about being Asian in America that's very like, you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Fucking like the dating scene.
Yeah.
You get where I'm coming from as a straight Asian male. Fucking,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are all these, you know, all like, why are all these white guys getting like Asian chicks and whatnot, and other chicks, and I'm like, there's like, you know, anyways,
Yeah.
not to get, you know, too deep into that, but it's based on studies, like Asian American men have it a little bit harder out there. But you know, there's guys like a lot of my homies, you know, they're married, they got, you know, Dan, yeah, shout out to Dan. Okay, it's started to take over for that section, but like, do you have any questions for us, real quick?
Yeah, I mean, like, what are both of y'all experiences being Asian American and growing up? Did you ever see like any disadvantages or advantages? Was the model minority ever applied to y'all, and like, how did y'all react to that?
Dan, you wanna go?
Dan,
Yeah, Dan, go on that one.
Growing up in San Diego, most of the Asians
Okay.
that I was around in elementary school, they were primarily Vietnamese immigrants. So there weren't that many Asian Americans that I interacted with. And it wasn't until 8th grade when I went to Gardena. I went to junior high school in Gardena down here in the South Bay, that I met Asian Americans that were more like me, and more. There are different versions of Asian Americans that I didn't come across.
Just to
until I went
clarify,
school.
you mean South Bay, LA, right? Gardena, got
South Bay,
it.
LA.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is that the model Asian minority is very good at school and everything like that, and nerdy, not athletic. But this school, I don't know what the true population breakdown was, but in my mind it was 30% Asian, 30% Hispanic, 30% black, and 10% white.
Oh wow.
And I don't know the true statistics, but it seemed that way. It was the most Asian Americans I've seen in one place, and that was when I turned 13. But there were skaters that were Asian American. There were people who were, you know, really athletic. They were like playing sports and, you know, doing well in basketball, things like that. So that had a really weird impact on me growing up, because up until then in San Diego, I was basically viewed as a model minority and viewed kind of weird for being able to speak English without an accent, versus all the other Asian kids that were around there. They all had some sort of accent.
This is in San Diego
San
area.
Diego,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There's a lot of Vietnamese there, right?
Yeah, there are a lot of Vietnamese people who immigrated to San Diego, and they were kind of two flavors. They were either not into school at all, and they were almost like gangsters, or they were into school and they just did well and didn't say anything.
Right.
So that was my. There was no advantages of being Asian American growing up in San Diego.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the Bay Area
Very
is
diverse.
very diverse. So, like, I think the racial issues that there was like this half Asian, half white guy, Eurasian guy, and he was good, really good looking, but like all the chicks loved that dude. And I was like, wait. Well, the thing is though, like it's hard to. He's also a really handsome dude though. So and smart. So I mean, but it's something like, oh shit, he's mixed. There's kind of like that exoticness
Right.
that like some chicks dig, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing in high school, like no, I mean a lot of Asians in my high school. I would say predominantly Filipino and Vietnamese, and some Chinese, very few Korean, some Taiwanese. Very few Taiwanese. I was like one of the few Taiwanese. There was some Taiwanese there, and some white people. But the white and black people at my high school were definitely, I would say, the minority. So that was interesting. It's kind of like coming up in a predominantly diverse, and there was also Latino people as well. But I think the whole racial issue of, I think when it came to like identity and dating and stuff, maybe hit me more in college when I went to San Diego, actually, UC San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like Dan was saying, that even though this is years later, because Dan and I grew up in different decades, but like I think when I went to UC San Diego, I remember like I was trying to mac on these girls up on the fourth floor, right? Where I was at my dorm, and like there were these Korean chicks, and like I remember overhearing their conversation, like, oh dude, like talk about all the guys that they found attractive. It was all these white guys, right? Like, oh dude, who, and then the only guy they mentioned that was kind of mixed was Keanu Reeves. Like, oh, Keanu Reeves is so cute. I'm like, yeah, he's kind of Asian, but he can pass as white.
Yeah.
And then and I remember like one of these girls in the conversation was like, yeah, I only date white guys, right? And I was like, oh fuck, and that kind of hurt my ego, because back in high school, I had a girlfriend in high school, and I felt more attractive in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So in college, it was kind of an ego hit until maybe my junior year. I got a girlfriend in my junior year, and I think that's this idea of identity. I connected with Asian American studies probably closer to in my adulthood, in college and post-college. I went back to Taiwan after college because I want to relearn the language, reconnect with my culture. And a part of that is because my grandparents raised me. And they say there's a loss when you're a child, right? There's a loss of basically knowing that that the people that raise you, your grandparents, you love them so much, but then you have to grow up, and then so you're never going to go through childhood again, and also that the people who raise you will pass away, right? Unless there's God forbid, you get a disease or something, and then you pass before them. But your parents, your grandparents, and I think going back to Taiwan, reconnecting with my culture there was really inspiring to me. And I got more into Asian American studies after I came back from Taiwan and studied so I went, but the thing, like you said, Asia is Asia. That's a different experience. Asians living in Asia is a different experience than Asians living in America, That's just like, and being an the ABC, the American-born Chinese or American-born Taiwanese, they go living in Taiwan, there's this whole other racial structure there too. It's like, oh, you're ABC, so they think, oh, you're like hip hop, right, or something like that. They have these certain preconceived notions of what you are. So
now I'm just trying to be like me, right? But I'm proud of being Taiwanese American, and I'm proud of my identity. And however I am, the thing is that why is it that white people can be whatever they want, or there's that, or like, you know, they can be emo, they can be hip hop, they can be whatever, you know. In American culture, because they are the majority, they are represented in all these different ways. Asian Americans can be just the same. We're just as diverse. We can be just as we can be anything we want to be as well. And that's something being a creative Asian American, I think that's always, because my parents want real talk. They told me straight up, James, we'd rather you be a doctor, a lawyer, or a city worker, right? And what are you doing with all this like guitar or writing or acting or filmmaking? You're wasting a lot of time, you know. And I know, go back to like some of your conversations I've heard on your podcast is about family pressure, right?
Yes.
And family concepts, and I think being at it for so long, and you know, my mom actually helped me with my graduate studies in screenwriting, you know, with financially. So shout out to my mom, because she realized, like, when I was living in Taiwan and I came back, I had to borrow some money from her. And this is kind of, sorry, this might be kind of personal, but like she was kind of like, dude, James, like I want you to get like a real job, like this. Like you having to, and no, it's real talk. Like if I have to borrow money, that's something wrong. Like I'm supposed to be a grown ass man. I'm in my mid 20s. I'm supposed to be able to take care of myself. And she's right. And I wrote her like, you know, please just understand this is a transition period. And I wrote this in Chinese too, because I've been studying Chinese for a while. And she was like really surprised, and she liked my writing. And I was like, oh damn. And I sent her like a story that I wrote, and she was a Chinese literature student, right? And she's like, James, actually, you're not bad like at writing, you know. And the fact that you can write like, you know, semi-comprehensible Chinese, you know, this. And I was like, oh, dude, my mom complimented me. Like that's kind of rare, you know.
Is it rare in like Chinese and Taiwanese culture for that to happen?
Compliments, I would say so. Dan, you agree? Like your Chinese culture? Yeah.
How so? Like what? I mean, what are signs of affection in your guys' culture?
Dan, you wanna go? Yeah.
If I go with my dad, there's no such thing almost.
Really?
Yeah, there's this thing called Chinese guilt, where they make you feel bad. And I didn't even know that there was a terminology called Chinese guilt until I started doing kung fu, and the teachers who were not Chinese were saying Chinese guilt, where they just make you feel bad for not doing something. For example, I remember in 6th grade, it was like a progress report. It was even the report card. It was a progress report, and I got straight B's. My dad, and no one got A's at all. And my dad was like, "Are you good with that? Is that the best you think you can do?" And I was like, "Dad, no one got A's." He goes, "Well, still, do you think you could have done better?" And it just makes you feel bad for like not having achieved something higher.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like my dad and my mom. My dad would kind of do that too. But more lately, I think my dad's calmed down a bit. I know for me, one time I had some tears in my pants, and my dad sewed it for me. And he's like, "Oh, James, I sewed some of your pants." I was like, "Oh."
Was it supposed to be like that, or?
No, I messed them up. They're not supposed to. They're not like the style where it's supposed to be torn. Yeah. But they were kind of flaring, and he did that, and I didn't ask him or anything. So like, you know, they talk about the languages of love or the ways of showing affection. And I think I don't know if it's Asian, Taiwanese, but I know for him that was a way of. There's a word in Japanese for showing love without giving thanks, I think, or something like that. I saw it on like a TV ad, but there's this idea of like doing something without the expectation of praise, right?
Right.
And I think Yeah, my dad just low key like just fixed some of my pants before,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh damn, that's how he showed love.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, my dad and I, we have our issues, but he no, I think ways of showing affection. My mom was probably like nagging, you know. My mom was just like calling me, like, hey James, you know, because basically when I wrote in my letter to her when I borrowed money from her one time was basically, hey, I want you to understand it's a transition period and that I understand where you're coming from, and this is me expressing my understanding to her, is that I know that I understand you're feeling like anxious and worried about me, and you know, no matter like how that makes me feel, like I understand. I mean, I know how it makes me feel, but I want you to understand that I understand that that's your way of showing love.
Mm-hmm.
You trying to make sure I have enough money, I have enough food, and I have a place to sleep. You know, the basic life essentials. So my mom calling me, like I have to straight up say, hey, mom, like she used to send me like all these like self-help video stuff in Chinese and stuff, and I would say, hey mom, can you like not send me so much stuff? Like I didn't mean it like personal, I just like I need more of my own space, you know. And she's like, oh wow. So that's kind of how our relationship has grown over the years, my mother and I, and because I've become more fluent in Mandarin, it's helped. Dan, how does your mom show you affection?
She just cooks with my favorite dishes.
Mm.
Yeah, seriously. Or when she comes to visit me, she's just like, "What do you want to eat? I know you like this dish and this dish. What else do you want to eat?"
Mm-hmm.
She'll just go and make it.
Wow. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I would throw in the question back at you. What about like?
My parents are pretty Western in the sense of like, you know, I mean, I didn't do too well in school, so like as long as I didn't get, I mean, they expect me to get B's and A's, so they aren't too strict with school. But love-wise, I mean, like, you know, my dad, I think, is like, my stepmom and my mom say that, like, you know, he has certain different ways of like showing it, so it's not like it's all direct. You know, I feel like lately I've just been like showing him my accomplishments. Good job. Thumbs up emoji kind of thing.
Oh, he texts you talking about your dad? Or
Yeah, yeah. I show my mom too. Oh, I'm proud of you, this and that. But
do they watch your music videos or?
No, not so much. I mean, I don't think I told them I did a little bit of music here and there, but I don't really mention it. I think it's because the fear of like their rejection. Oh, like why are you doing that? Like same with you. Like why don't you do this or that? You know, like I told my mom on Friday, I was like, hey, I'm doing like 3 podcasts on Friday or that day. And she goes, oh, okay, cool. Well, maybe, you know, like, you should look for a second job. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I'm like,
My
well,
mom does the same shit.
And I'm like, well, I'm getting good hours. Yeah, but you never know this and that. And like, I was on my bike riding, and I didn't want to like, I told her before I got in an argument with her, I yelled at her, like, please don't ask me about another job, because I know what I'm doing. You know, like, I'm like, please trust me, I'm actually happy. And then like, when she asked me that, it's kind of like, it's almost that she doesn't trust me, but I know that she's just worried, and that's her being a mom. So in that sense, that's how I see her, like, you know, like showing affection, also telling me like, hey, brush your teeth, pray before you go to bed, that kind of stuff. My dad may not talk too much. I would say we had like a somewhat turbulent sort of like upbringing with him, but we're cool now. But I think like we don't have to always talk. My mom always tells me, you should call your dad, you should text your dad.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, but we're cool, like we're good, you know, we're cool, like there's no need to do it. I don't want to tell him. And also too with him, because I feel like if I call him, oh, so like what are you doing? Because like before I told him, oh, I'm doing podcasting, I'm super excited. What else are you doing? I'm like, go to work, have a retail job. What else are you doing? I'm like, that's it. Well, you need to get like a career job. It takes 10 years for you to be an expert or be good at your career. You know, you really took a lot of time in college. So like,
How long did you take with college, by the way?
I started in 2006. I
Okay.
graduated in 2017.
Wow.
But I took like a 5-year break all total. So minus the breaks, it took like 6-7 years switching 4 or 5 times majors.
Damn, hey, props to you for finishing,
Thank you.
man.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's okay.
So that to me is like the affection, but to me, I don't think it's cool when I get it, like when I got graduation, whenever I got like trophies in AAS or like good grades, I'd show them that I was, oh, good job, I'm proud of you. But other than that, I don't really share much about my personal life.
Yeah.
So I don't really, because I don't expect much, because I guess I'm missing that bond, like, oh, I don't ever call them, hey mom, hey dad, how's it going? Here's my life. I'm pretty sure y'all don't do that either, kind of thing. Yeah, because I don't know what that is, and I'm always puzzled when it's mostly what my Western friends would say, oh, like, my parent is like my best friend. I'm like, how the fuck is that
What
possible?
the hell? And they call them by their first name something or some shit.
Yeah. Or like how are they your best friend? How are you able to tell them everything? I fucking hide everything almost. Like to me, it's like as long as I'm like not doing some fuck shit, as long as I'm like going to school, doing work, I don't have to tell them anything. Like, hey, I'm paying rent on my own. I went to school, finished school. Like I'm pretty coherent these days. What else do you want to know? So whenever my mom goes, so what else is what? Like that's it. Like anything else new? What's new? I'm like, that's it. Like, hey, I told you, like I'm doing good in school or whatever. I'm meeting the essential requirements to be a responsible human being. I think I'm gonna keep my life personal to myself. But I don't know.
You ever get this feeling like when you're in a conversation with your mom that she's waiting for an opportunity to give you how you're supposed to live your life advice? Yeah. So that's the same with my mom. It's like
Really?
I'll talk with her. We're talking, and she's like, okay, have you looked into like city jobs, or have you looked into like have you looked into like maybe calling your dad's friend who offered that position maybe in medical or something like that, or like I'm like whoa okay. And like real talk, like I think if my mom wants to continue to have conversations with me, like I'll straight up say, okay, thanks mom, I appreciate the advice, I'm gonna and then I'll try to end the conversation, and she can sense it, like, okay, I got it, I get you're saying, I'm doing what I'm doing, and then I'll try to end the conversation, right?
Yeah.
And but I can sense that she still wants to talk to me because I'm her son, right?
Same.
So like what I'm trying to do I'm trying to give her signals now, like, hey, look, if we're gonna talk about that all the time, our conversations will be short.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think my mom also too. She wants to hang out more, but I just once again I feel like if I hang out with her, I know it's gonna happen. She asks these questions.
Exactly. It's like a freaking
Yeah.
robot, like pattern.
Yeah. And I feel kind of bad too because I know she wants to spend more time. She's getting older, and I'm getting older too. But I feel like I don't know, like the job. I mean, to me, it's like I want to hang out less with my family, kind of do my own thing because I'm 30.
Yeah.
Like I had fun hanging out with her all the time. I'm grateful and everything. She's a great mom. It's just when she asks those questions, I don't want to hang out with her. And sometimes I get a personal life, and then she like gives me some advice. I'm like, I didn't ask for that. I wanted you to listen. I wanted you to listen.
Just listen.
Well,
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, well, okay, if it's gonna be like that, it's gonna be like that. Fine. So like every time she calls, I anticipate all this horrible things. So I even answer the phone. Hello. Hi.
Yeah.
No, I'm not much. Just ride my bike. Okay.
Does she speak to you in Tagalog or
No, English.
English, okay.
But so it's like I feel kind of bad in a sense because I know she's trying to connect with me, but how she's going about it, it's not the right way because she can sense my aggression too. Like, when she suggests anything, I keep saying okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same here.
Cool. All right. Cool. All right.
Like, are you close with your stepmom as well, or?
You know what's interesting? I'm more close with her. I think it's just because, like, she's not my mom. She's not my dad, obviously. But I knew her, and like she was like she was sometimes like the middleman to talk to my dad, because sometimes my dad and I didn't get along, and she would tell me, well, your dad's not expressing this, but this is how he feels. And I tell her, well, this is how I feel. Okay, I'll tell him.
She's
that.
like the Key and Peele translator.
Yeah.
But not the angry translator,
Right.
but like the
like
the emotional translator.
Yeah, and she was, your dad has weird ways of expressing himself, but this is what he meant when he said this.
Okay.
So I'm close to her in that sense, but I feel like it's kind of messed up if I talk to her more than my dad, so I don't talk to them altogether much.
Oh wow.
But like.
What about your great aunties? Like before they passed, were you speaking to them or?
Yeah, I was speaking to them. I mean,
they raised you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
It's just interesting. Like I have such a good memory, but like in the Philippines, 0 to 7, maybe because your mind's not developed. I don't know. I don't remember much.
Were you thinking Tagalog during that time?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, man, that's like my. I wonder how many more Asian kids are like this? How many Asian kids have this relationship with their parents where it's kind of like, I mean, we have similar but different relationships where it's like kind of almost like standoffishy, like we're not too personal and they kind of nag at us kind of thing, you know?
I think Dan is a child of divorce as well.
Yeah.
Dan, do you want to speak to your relationship with your mom, your mom, dad, or the step parents?
I'm not too close with my dad.
Okay.
Because I didn't really grow up with him.
Right.
And then my mom, I'm definitely close with. My stepmother, I get along pretty well with. My first stepfather, not so much. It's very interesting because I lived in San Diego for the past few years, and he lives there, and I didn't see him one time. I talked to him on the phone twice, and that was it.
Wow.
And then my current stepfather, my mom's current husband, seems like a pretty big guy, but they live in Japan, so I don't see him that often.
Is he Japanese or?
Yeah.
And do you feel that like your experience with your different parents has an impact on you being a parent? Like, I'm gonna do it this way as opposed to how they did it, kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm already doing it differently than my dad. My dad was. My mom always told me that my dad did not carry me or my brother until we were like age 2 or 3.
Oh, he didn't like really touch you guys really or hold you.
Yeah, I mean, he held us here and there, but he definitely did not change any diapers.
Huh.
Is that more like a gender role kind of thing in culture, or is just him?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely more hands-on with my kids than
That's awesome.
I think my dad ever was.
That's great.
Like, do you believe in did you have like skin on skin like bonding with your sons? Because I hear that's important.
No, I didn't do that.
Oh, interesting. But you hug them and hold their hands and stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
Because like, one of my close high school friends, he's a new father, and I see like his post, and he has his shirt off, and he hugs his son with his shirt off. Supposedly it's like, I don't know, like
Makes sense.
like the chemical or like biological, it makes you closer with your son, like it's a trigger. I think they did studies with monkeys about this too. That's good. I think if I ever become a parent, I want to be closer with my kids, you know. And so, kind of talking about like, I'm not expert, but like I've been going through like this huge self-help kind of phase right now. So I've been on like a psychotherapy retreat called the Hoffman Process. That was like a week-long thing. We talked about parents and our relationship, and also I've been getting into like Zen meditation recently, and you know, it's a lot of the traumas that I've experienced, and a lot of us have experienced as a kid. We've never really worked out.
Yes.
We've never really faced. I've been looking, like, maybe I'm gonna probably start therapy sometime once
Therapy's great.
if I find it but I think it's like, it's so important to unpackage these things, because if not, then we're always, you know, one of my Zen teachers is like, we just run around like a crazy person, you know. We just keep repeating like, oh, I'm trying to get high, try to get laid, try to like doing these things as if like we're on autopilot.
Yes.
And not stopping like, oh shit, why am I doing this? Or like, do I want to do this? Okay. And I mean, have you been to therapy, or have you done like self-help or
I'm a
self-care
big fan of
things?
self-help. Like, I read The Secret. I believe in positive energy, that kind of stuff. But I also figured, like, with me, a big way for me to cope is to do podcasting and music, like, constantly. And I feel like doing this is a measure of success. It kind of like, it kind of defines who I am. It helps me, you know, cope and stuff. It just shows like I am doing something.
Yeah.
Therapy-wise, I went to counseling a couple of times. Once in senior year college, I was going through a lot of life experiences.
Yeah.
And it was good to talk to Sisa and like professional counselor.
Good.
I told her like I did a bunch of drugs. I told her everything, and she goes, "Yeah, you're pretty aware of what you do." And
Good.
to me, it was awareness. But therapy really helped, especially like it's good for friends, but getting from professional help, they kind of know how to handle things.
Yeah.
So, but for me, it's like it was that, also a combination of self-awareness with friends, but therapy I definitely recommend. I think that it gives a bad rap, and I think in Asian American culture, like therapy and mental health is almost non-existent.
Yeah, we were talking about this. Yeah.
Or maybe like more in Asian culture. Asian American, I think it's being more like brought to light, but in Asia, I don't think it's like, what's anxiety? Like just get
What's
over
depression?
it.
Yeah.
It's all in your head kind of thing.
Like, work through it. Work harder.
So I went through that. I think I learned that I have anxieties because like it's why I did a bunch of drugs, because I was unsure about certain things. I don't know what to do. Let me do something I always do. So when I stopped taking drugs, I think the anxiety like became more aware of it. It's kind of tapered down.
Good.
Yeah. But yeah.
I mean, like, there's certain exercises of where like, if you give something a label, it kind of diminishes the how catastrophic it may seem.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a story of this knight. It's like a children's book. Forget the name, but it's basically there's a dragon behind him, and as it walks behind him, it gets bigger and bigger, and he has to find the courage. When he finally makes the courage to look at it and stare at the dragon, and he finally turns around and looks at the dragon. It's huge, right? But he forces himself to keep looking at the dragon. As he keeps looking at the dragon gets smaller and smaller. So it's kind of like, the way I connect it is like, feeling anxious right now, or I'm feeling lonely. Okay, sit with that. Don't judge yourself. Don't say, oh fuck, why am I so No, just sit with it. Because guess what? You're not alone. Because fucking even Kanye, that fool was like Superman. They all got their kryptonite, right? They all have their own. Everyone, no matter how successful it may appear. Fucking Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Dude, Anthony Bourdain. We gotta talk mental health is something you drop a lot of lines about Anthony B in your phrases.
Yes. Yeah. He was a big influence.
Can we detour real quick to Anthony Bourdain?
Yeah.
Dan,
any Anthony B stories?
Dan, were you a fan of Anthony Bourdain or?
Yeah, I watched his original show quite a bit.
No reservations.
Yeah. So how did his suicide, alleged suicide? I guess is it pretty confirmed that it was suicide? It's pretty.
My step grandfather said that he died from auto asphyxiation, like David Carradine shit.
Like getting choked?
Like getting off, like choking yourself while like masturbating.
Yeah.
It's how David Carradine, even possibly Kate Spade, but maybe they're saying that since they have so much respect, they call it suicide. But I don't believe it. Like I feel like he died probably because of suicide.
Oh.
Possibly, there's also conspiracy theories, which I won't get into.
Illuminati or some shit. Yeah.
Some shit. Well, usually, with how conspiracy theories work is like, this person died because they were going to expose a pedophile ring in the government or something.
Yeah, that seems like a common theory for even with Chester Bennington, Lincoln Park.
Yes.
Yeah.
Paul Walker. But mental health, I know he did drugs. He stopped. He just drinks. But it's just crazy.
He drinks a lot too. I saw his Joe Rogan interview, and they were going through a lot of cans.
I gotta check that out. Really?
Yeah. So I think he's recovered as far as hard drink, but he might be still an alcoholic. I don't know. He seems like he's still drinking.
In the shows, you see him get wasted. He talks he's like for a drink. And he wakes up hungover. But Anthony Bourdain was. I think he was one of the few people that went to different countries, and he did it properly. He didn't appropriate the culture. He didn't come off as he came off as very humble in all the cultures. Respectful, mindful of the culture, the practices. Whether he went to India, Philippines, Middle East, Africa, he didn't come off as this is such a savage culture. This is so primitive. We went to Vietnam and talked to people with missing limbs. Yeah, it was damn, he as a not person of color, he did it properly. If you want to do what he does and not be problematic, do what he does.
Anthony B by far is beloved by all people of all races.
Yes.
Masa, the Japanese chef, freaking love, like,
Yeah.
because what Anthony did was that he listened. He didn't tell you like, oh, this is how you're supposed to eat pho, like
Yeah.
like that fucking chef, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I want to understand your culture, right? And so as far as people of color, Eddie Huang, Dave Chang, freaking David Cho, like all these guys love Anthony because first of all, he just seems like a cool dude. Now, I mean, I'm kind of curious, like what, like going back to your music, like you drop a lot of lines about him, like, and this is before his suicide, obviously.
Yeah.
So
just,
like,
I mean, like I liked a lot of food shows, and like I'm like I always say like, oh, like I'm Anthony Bourdain, you're Guy Fieri kind of shit.
yeah.
Because Guy Fieri, he came off a little corny. At
Yeah.
first I liked him, but he came off a little douchey. But like Anthony B was just so revered, as like that. Whether it was like Travel Channel, whether it was CNN, he was just this like, he was a white guy that was doing it right.
Yeah.
That's why like I mentioned him so much. Thank you for catching that.
Yeah.
That's cool you caught that, because I do like mention him. I like food references,
Yeah.
but like he did it right. Whatever he did it right, and just him passing like that, it was a shock to the world.
I mean, there, like, for like suicide and stuff like that, I do think people have to recognize that it's normal to have those thoughts.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think it's normal to commit suicide. Like, I would never normalize that.
Yeah.
I think it's,
Right. Having thoughts of like I don't want to wake up, or I hate my life
yeah,
types.
like I don't want to exist anymore.
Mhm.
These are thoughts that, I know intellectually I've had. I never seriously wanted that to happen to myself, but I intellectually thought about it, and I'm like, when I was super down, like I would, like, oh damn, like, is this gonna keep happening again? Then maybe I don't want to exist. Like, I would have these thoughts, but I think recognizing like, oh, now this is not, I'm not trying to say like this is what, because we don't know what Anthony was going through. Like, it's so personal, right?
It is interesting because he had such a amazing life from what we saw.
From what we see.
He has a wonderful wife, kids.
He wasn't married anymore.
He had a girlfriend. Yeah.
Oh, Asia?
Asia, yeah. They weren't married. I don't think
they
were they married, Dan? Or
No, they were not married. They were just boyfriend, girlfriend.
But they had a kid together, right?
that's his previous, his
Okay.
other wife who was like hella into BJJ. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, it's just interesting him. I mean, like anyone really. Yeah, it's just interesting, especially with him. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, final thought. What I'm curious is about when you heard the news, like where were you and how did you feel?
It's usually, you're in bed, you wake up, you look at your social media, you
Yeah.
see a bunch of RIP Anthony Bourdains, and I told my mom too, and like,
Did you cry?
I didn't, but it was very shocking.
Yeah.
It was very shocking just because he, it didn't seem like he had like a depressed life, and he had such a great life. He traveled the world. I mean, isn't that what most people want? It just goes to show they don't know behind closed doors, and all these mental health talks are like being brought up. It was sad. I cried when Lil Peep died. I definitely cried in school. He was a young rapper / singer.
Yeah.
He died from a Xanax overdose. It turns out what he took had fentanyl, which is it's like exponentially stronger than heroin. It's been a problem in the drug scene where heroin and opiates and all these other drugs have fentanyl, which pretty much kills people.
Shit.
So like it's an issue with drug users. It's something we have to watch out for. So with that I cried just because like damn, that could have been me.
Because that hit close to home for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he partied as much as I did. I was sober then, but I was like damn, like he's 21, not even 27. A lot of these people are dying before 27 now, and it just goes to show like I don't know, life is short, and it's okay to party once in a while, but he definitely had issues.
Yeah.
And it's eerie because he talked about dying in his music and like wanting to die, or substance abuse and all this stuff, and it just kind of goes to show what you put out there is the universe gives to you.
It's
believe
kind
in
of Dan. How are you on time, man?
I probably should head
Okay.
Because, I haven't eaten dinner yet.
Oh,
Okay,
shit.
yeah.
Well,
I had maybe 10 more minutes, or you gotta head out now.
I was up till like 1 last
oh, no worries, dude.
You got bounce. If you got bounce, I had a few more questions for Vaughn, but if you need a bounce, go for it.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
Nice meeting you, bud.
yeah, nice meeting you too, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate your input and your podcast. Keep it up.
Yeah. Any last? Do you have any language corner or any last thoughts?
No, my mind is fried because I was been breathing in paint fumes all day.
Oh, okay.
okay.
Go for it, man.
All right, man.
Alright,
Any
guys,
yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. If it's cool, I kind of want to keep going a
Yeah,
little
that's
bit.
cool. That's cool.
Cause like you brought up a point about like basically like artists, right?
Yeah.
Passing away and then the suicidal thoughts. It made me think about X.
X, oh my God, X.
Yeah.
Yeah, X.
So like so X, like I didn't know about his music, right?
Mhm.
I just read an article that he died.
Yes.
So I didn't before his first passing. I think maybe he was on a Rich Brian song or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah.
But like I heard like, oh dude, this guy. So I saw that he like stomped on his ex-girlfriend or something. So I read these reports like, oh dude, So my initial reaction, fuck this guy. Probably deserved it. Like you said, brings out he got what like whatever. But I don't know. Maybe but I was just so curious. I looked up some more articles. I was like, why am I so curious about this guy? So then I looked into his. I listened to one of his songs, "Sad," right? I was like, okay, there's something here, and I watched like a interview of his, and I realized, and he's denying like the allegations and stuff like that. I don't know how true that is, but what I could sense, and I'm older, and we're older, right? And I'm not saying that makes us more perceptive, but I think it gives us a little bit more life experience. We can tell when someone's been through some shit. Like you can sense that this guy's HSP, a highly sensitive person, right? And I realized, like, damn, why was I so quick to judge him so right away? But not saying I'm not excusing him for his alleged faults, but like, what I'm curious about from you is that, like, what's your reaction to that? Like, can you really separate the artist and the art?
Good question.
Yeah.
Along with what X has done, and it's even said that his girlfriend, the person who made these claims took them back.
Yeah.
I can't speak on that. I mean, if he did it, he did it. I don't condone that. I think that the victim deserves justice, and so does he. So if he was, I know he had legal issues, hypothetically, like, if he was alive, if he faced jail time, that's justice served. Did he deserve to be murdered in cold blood? Absolutely not.
No one deserves that.
This kid, I think we have to realize, this is not an excuse, but this person, I think he grew up had a turbulent childhood. I don't believe there was a father figure.
Right, and his mom was away working and stuff.
Right.
And like Gabor Mate talks about, like, if I touch you here, but let's say let's say you didn't have that tattoo there, right? I touch you there, just like someone touching you, right? Let's say you just got that tattoo and I touch you there. Shit's gonna hurt, right?
Yeah.
So there's some people, and I sense it, let me know if I'm correct, but I sense this in you too. Like, some people are hella sensitive, dude.
Yeah.
About like feelings, emotions.
Yeah.
If a girl doesn't call you back,
of course.
or someone like disses you, like a good friend disses, like all this shit. So if I sense that he's really sensitive, and he went through some like really deep shit. Like even mom not being there, like that's like 10 times of like the pain of like some,
And also too, compiling that he has all this money, he has this fame at that age. At that
19,
age,
man, yeah.
At 19, at that age, like your age, the fame, notoriety, and like your past traumas, it adds up. And also, before he died, he was definitely trying to make a positive change. He realized his faults. He was trying to correct them. He was trying to spread positive messages. You can tell by how he spoke, what he said. In the past, he did realize what he did was wrong. He apologized for it. It was just, like, for him to be gone down like that was very sad. And separate artists and stuff, like, it's tough. Okay, for example, like
Kanye.
yeah, I can't separate it. I can't separate that guy. He's like the Anakin of hip hop. R. Kelly, scumbag. He's 40 something or old, having sex cults and tying up women, doing all this fuck shit. So that's inexcusable. He's old. He knows better. Younger people like Tekashi 6ix9ine or X, I can't even compare them, but like these younger people, we have to realize they come for the most part in not the most perfect family, household, life. You combine that with fame, notoriety, you know, they're bound to slip. They do slip up, and I don't excuse their actions. I think that they should face justice in the court of law. But I also believe that they have the ability to change. There's compassion in that sense.
Yes.
These people, they're kids. They're kids. They're 17, 18. How are we when we're 18? Imagine if we had all that money, all that social media attention on us. We'd be bound to do like. It's hard to like. That pressure is crazy. And with that said, you know, people have the ability to change. There's compassion. Now, I do believe that they should face justice for what they've done in the court of law, but that's the only justice they should face, in my opinion. You know, like for that guy to be what irritates me is for X to be gunned down. He was he fucking deserved it. Like he was a fucking so and so.
And I'm guilty of that initial reaction because
that's normal.
Yeah, but
it's
it's also, I think some of the people who write about him, like some of these articles are like, they're like hit pieces, you know? They're trying to hit to his reputation. But then, and it's kind of scary, because like how much of our perception of reality, going back to Asian American studies, how much of our perception of reality is shaped by other people's perceptions that could be far from the truth, or not, or they could just be skewed, you know? And like, by reading that article and looking at his interview, I had a more fuller picture of what this guy was. And I was real talk. Like I wasn't sure about if I could listen to his album, because I didn't want to support an artist that had done certain things. But like I said, you know what? I'm gonna give it a chance. You know, maybe And dude, there's some good stuff in there.
I mean, I listened to his music a little bit. Definitely more when he passed, but I listened to his music a little bit, and you can tell like. He's definitely going through issues, and he was the type to. He definitely was going through depression and suicidal thoughts and everything.
And there's some songs that are like that are not that great because they kind of promote some of those, you know, the stereotypes of rap.
But it's just so with that sense, it depends. I think it's case by case basis. I can listen to certain artists, but like I just know, like with a lot of rap, I know better. I know that you don't really do this in real life. It's a lot of entertainment. But with that said, it's tough. It can be tough sometimes. And people like R. Kelly, I can't support. You know, I mean, because in that sense, I mean, you look at a lot of artists like Michael Jackson, Iggy, oh my God, David Bowie.
Was talking about Iggy Pop or?
No, I'm sorry, David Bowie.
Okay,
but just a lot of people go through these issues, and I think like it's just case by case basis. But in general, like if they're a straight up scumbag, I can't. But I have empathy for the youth in that sense, youth of color in that sense, who may have grown, who may not have had the proper, they were taught properly how to act in these circumstances. You know, not everyone grew up in a single household, mom and dad raised them right. These kids, I think a lot of musicians turn to music or art as a way to escape, to cope. So when you're put on the spotlight and these things happen, you know,
there's no way to teach that. Like, how do you deal with fame? There's no class for that.
Right, really. Exactly. So that's my take on that.
Okay.
So,
I think maybe it's getting kind of late. I know. Maybe one or two questions each, maybe, and then can wrap it up.
So with you, like, I mean, how? So you're going through therapy now, or looking into therapy?
I was looking into therapy. I'm doing like Zen meditation now up here in North Virginia. Does jiu-jitsu and martial arts, does that help with like stress and anxiety for you? I think when I get depressed or I get like in a blue period, I have to reassess like why am I like, first of all, I look at it like very objectively. Am I getting enough sleep? Have I been exercising? Have I been eating all right? Because that affects, you know, because it's so easy for me to be like, oh, what am I doing with my life? You know, the dark side talking, right? It's like, I'm depressed because I'm not, you know, no one loves me. Like these kind of dark thoughts. But I'm trying to train myself to like, well, look at it more like a scientist. Like, oh, yeah, you get sleep. So, and usually 9 times out of 10, or like usually when I get kind of depressed and stuff, oh, I'm not getting enough exercise, or I'm not doing enough. And always for me, martial arts has always, in a way, saved me.
Right.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah. Whenever I feel like down, or martial arts has always been there. Like even if I don't have a gym to go to, I can always go outside, do a form or something like that, or you know, do some shadow boxing. Like that's why I know, because one of your previous guests, the Sixtos, Alice or something.
Alice,
Yeah. She's like way higher level jiu-jitsu than
Really?
me. No, just listening to her podcast that you guys did, like, but like it's similar. It's kind of like be able to, like, for jiu-jitsu, like, use minimal force to like control a situation. That idea, it doesn't just it translates to life too, you know. Like, well, not everyone can make that translation, but I do. Like, I try to like in this conversation, like, how do we flow with this, you know, like, or when you know, like, and I do Tai Chi as well. I do Tai Chi push hands. I just came from that here today, and so one of the guys there, I love this guy, Bruce. He's giving me advice on, like, you know, cause I was like, he's single. He's an older single guy, and I'm single too. And shout out. And basically, like, how do you pick up, like, how do you talk to women, right? And he's like, well, you know, you just talk to them as if you're on the first date already. Oh, hey, what are you ordering there? It looks good, you know, or something, like, you know, it's just whatever it is, but not premeditating it. So that's kind of like push hands, or kind of like with jiu-jitsu. It's like you feel where your opponent energy is, and then you go with that, and then you're like, oh, okay, I can go like this and like that now, and then it takes training. And no, like martial arts, it's always saved me.
That's
so,
great.
Yeah.
That's good.
I started with karate. I did kung fu. I did bagua. My big thing for the last couple of years was baji fist. But now I'm getting more deep into judo and jiu-jitsu and tai chi. Kind of like more the grappling and softer arts. Yeah.
That's good. I think I should utilize martial arts, because it seems like, I mean, you also get fit.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes you want to get your aggression out, and sometimes, you know, punching or like doing sparring, it's a good way to do it. It's a healthy way of fighting, in a sense, as opposed to just like beating someone up randomly.
Right.
Sure, it teaches discipline, self-control. So yeah.
Because if you think about it, man, it's like, how much in our life do we have to like be like, not like outburst, or not wild out or act crazy, like, you know. That's why I think people all go to dances or races, so they can just go. But the human species, like we've, especially as someone who's gone through trauma or has, like, is really sensitive, they need to express themselves in some way. Some people, and that's like, martial arts is a great physical way. For you, it's probably like music, right? Or like, when's the last time you screamed, you know? Like, sometimes you want fucking like, you know, like, get emo. I guess my question for you would be is that, like, I guess music is your form of expression, right? I mean, you can also do, like, I think getting fit, like, it doesn't have to be martial arts, it could be anything. But my curiosity, I guess, with is Von Eisen, right? This Von Eisen, the rapper, we all have different personas, but like, I'm curious about the inspirations for your music. They coming from your life. So guilt, you know, like, some topics you talk about a lot are guilt, doing drugs, acting board. Matsu House and Cypher was dope. Yeah. So like, okay, let's go back. Let's go to your EP, right? Back in, was that 2000? I have it up here.
2016. Guilt by Guilt.
Guilt by So like, I saw that video too. You're like drinking. It's kind of like, so that's kind of like you expressing your state of mind at that time.
Yes.
Like getting kind of jaded with. I'm like, this is me just kind of like.
It's just
interpreting, like, jaded, or.
Yeah, it was pretty much. It was me just like, it was through this rough period where I was just like doing a lot of drugs and drinking just to like get away, because I felt bad. It all stems from a lot of it stems from a woman that I was really into. Like, we were like really good friends, but like, I saw her as a soulmate. We didn't go out, you know, we dated for a little bit. So like, I was so attached to her, and we did a lot of drugs together, that when we kind of fell apart, I had a hard time accepting it. I'm so blessed that this happened, because I was so attached to her and maybe too attached that like, you know, it took me years to like get over it. You know, when she decided she wanted to move to a different path and do her own thing, and I had a hard time adjusting, a hard time coping. So, you know, everything was built by this guilt. You know, I made music out of it, but for me, it was like doing drugs or drinking to remember those times. You know, it was a circular path. It was like, fuck, dude. Like, I just remember all these crazy times, good times, and when she was gone, I was doing a lot of drugs to kind of like chase them.
Self-medicate.
Yeah. So now, pretty much that's what it was. And now, like, I gained a lot from it. I'm not as dependent on people, so thank you for bringing that up. But yeah, that was pretty much like. But now it's more like I try to have more fun music because.
Yeah, what do you write about nowadays? Yeah.
Man, like I honestly I like these these little pumps, these little yachties. It's just like it's fun, you know. I like how
you wrote like that broccoli song or whatever. Yeah.
So, no, I mean like I like that kind of stuff and just like the new trap stuff.
Okay.
But to me, it's like I can't be writing about that kind of like dark, depressive stuff all the time because it eats at you. Even though like it's therapeutic, but you like. I had to like get my mind into that state, and it's depressing.
Oh.
So like now it's been kind of more party, more like hype, like party, turn up music.
Yeah. Diversity, right?
Yeah.
Mix it up, yeah.
But to where it's not problematic. Like I don't say the B word in my life. I don't say the B word. I don't say the B word in music. I don't try to like. I don't objectify women in that sense in music. I don't say certain things that other people may seem as offensive. Not that I'm like super PC about it, but like. I pretty much don't say those kind of things. Like I don't objectify women in that sense, but I make turn-up music, but I'm not objectifying women. So like it's just different type for me. So to me, I'm having fun with that. You know, just like going less about the lyrics and going more with like the feel of it, the vibe of it.
Okay, and I guess maybe because you're in a better place, maybe right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was so hard to make that music just because like. Growing up in like this like lyrical like Nas kind of Jay-Z stuff, that was taboo. Like you're not that kind of rapper. But now it's like, hey, I'm expressing who I am. So.
And it seems like you built a community over here in the valley with Metaphors and MC Zuko and those guys. Yeah. Because like I think it's great to have someone. I think it's good to have like a community. Like, but I know because I know that independence, right? Being independent. But also having a close friends as well. It's kind of that balance, right? I was watching one of your vlogs about, and it's something that I'm going through. I've been always thinking about too, because there is that loneliness, right? Yeah. It's like shit, you know. Why does it feel like everyone is out Friday night? I got no homies hitting me up, you know, and stuff like that. But something I've been kind of practicing with meditation and with like you know talking to like. Good people is that, you know what, it's like, I talked to Dan about this too, it's like being okay being alone, right?
Yes.
And also understanding that for me is my self-worth is not dependent on other people validating me.
Agreed. It's hard to realize that, but most of my time I'm podcasting, making music, helping a tattoo shop, or working. It's like the 4 things I do.
Right.
And like I've used this alone time as my advantage because while people are out, I'm creating something. And like to me, I don't really hang out as much. Ever since I stopped drinking and like doing as much drugs, it's hard for me to go out because I feel the urge to like do that shit.
Yeah. So especially the drinking.
It's hard.
I don't drink either. So
really?
Yeah.
Did you ever get into drinking much? Or
I did in college, and I got deep into and then I socially, but like because I got psoriasis, so if I drink, that shit like my skin plaques flail up, you know. So like I have a medical excuse, like I can't, I don't drink.
So you can't smoke too much.
I don't smoke either. Yeah, and also I got high for the first time in a while. Like, and I just realized like fuck man, maybe. I think the next thing I would ever try is probably ayahuasca or something like that. Some sort of plant where it's kind of like more therapeutic, like sort of like, because I had a homie that did that.
Me too.
Yeah, and he went to fucking South America.
You have to go through.
Yeah, he went through shaman, the hut. He wrote it. I read it. I was like, damn. He wouldn't it's not recommended for everyone.
I wouldn't do it. I'm scared.
No, there's some people. Yeah, it's probably some people. It's not recommended because basically you
live like horrible memories.
He told me like it was the closest thing. he understands what it means like to die, as far as he knows,
That's scary.
because he went through like this super high, but there's also that dark period. But the thing is that he feels that he has a lot of empathy for people who have committed suicide or have suicidal thoughts or have darkness in them. Yeah, and he feels better at coming out of it, but he says, no, real talk, it's not for everyone. Sorry, what were we talking about? But we were talking about
just acceptance, like being like lonely.
yeah.
It's tough, but I just definitely like feel like I'm using it to my advantage.
Have you ever been alone in a relationship before, like being with someone but still feeling lonely?
It's been so long since I've been in a relationship.
Same here, yeah.
I don't remember, but I guess there's times where like I feel like a lot of it's in my head, but damn, I can't remember the last. I mean, there's like dating and hooking up, but I don't think that really counts.
yeah.
But I've just been pretty much like single. I mean, I've liked a bunch of girls, but like I've liked a lot of my platonic female friends. But I'm so glad that I stayed friends because a lot of them, the friendship investment's 10 years and it's grown beautifully.
Oh, great.
And like I just don't regret it, because usually like when you like a girl, you said it's cool, but like when you break up, it's hard to sometimes regain that friendship. So I'd rather keep the friendship and just stay friends, and I see that as a blessing.
Yeah.
Because it's so it's so easy. It's rewarding now. Like, I can talk to these women, get their perspective, as opposed to just hooking up with them short term.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work out. I wouldn't be friends with them.
Yeah.
So I really admire and appreciate my female friends. I think I have more female friends than guy friends.
Oh, wow.
Like, I don't know. I'm just more comfortable, and it's like we connect, and it's like it was never weird.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just to wrap it up,
Yeah,
I mean, one thing I know for like talking to Dan and stuff is that if once you get into a relationship, if you want to have a family, that alone time, that free time, is the most valuable thing ever.
Yeah.
So I think like for us and for all you lonely single men out there, we talking to you, dude, cherish this time of self-development and self-growth, because there's something I learned. One of my Zen teachers mentioned to me was there's a Chinese saying, and this will be like my language corner. It's like,
I like your language.
学生准备好了，老师会出现。Something like it, I think 就是学生 is student 准备好了 has prepared, 老师 teacher 会出现 will appear. So when the student is prepared, the teacher will appear. Kind of like when listening to you and Professor Alan Aquino, it's kind of like, oh shit, you guys met at the perfect time. Because that's a guy, just in his class and speaking to him, like he was in my Lyft one time. I drove Lyft for a little while, and I picked him up. Yeah, I picked him up, and I was like, oh dude, I sat in this guy's class before. But he was like on his iPad like this, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh dude, that's an interesting side of him, because in class he's the extrovert talking.
He's introverted.
He's so introverted,
yeah.
And like, which is fine.
That's cool.
That's cool. But like, he's introverted in a way. It seems that I think he might have experienced maybe trauma in his life. I don't know.
I don't know too much.
I don't know too much.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak on him.
Yeah.
But like, listening to him on your podcast is like, oh dude, this guy didn't think he could live up until 21.
Yeah.
This is a fool. Like, I thought he got his shit together. But
he
has his shit together. But like, to get to that point, we don't understand the journey.
Yeah.
And I think for you, like looking at like you've gone through some shit, and like you're a highly sensitive person too. And like for you to survive, and also, I mean that's commendable. I think that when you guys met and Asian American Studies came into your life, I mean, for me looking at it, oh shit, like, oh yeah, that saying is correct. When the student is ready, the master will appear. And I think that's, guess what? Now this is like real talk. This is also about like relationships. Mm-hmm. This is about like opportunities in your life. Because I think one of my screenwriting teachers told me before, Barack Goldman, shout out to Barack. He said he had like this opportunity. He had a screenplay that was getting really hot buzz or something, but it didn't go through. And the way he looked at it is like, you know what? Maybe I wasn't ready. You know what? I was like, oh shit. And now he's doing really well. He's got like, he's white, he's married, and he's writing a pilot. But like, dude, like I think that's something I'm trying to think about now, because real talk, it's been a while since I've been in a relationship too, right? And then my thinking starts thinking like, oh fuck, there's something wrong with me, or There's like,
Yeah.
well, you know. But then I realized, and then I told my teacher, one of my Zen teachers about this, and she's like, well, you know what? When the student is ready, the master will appear.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
yeah.
I think to me it's like now I told myself maybe I should work on myself first.
Yeah.
Maybe I should kind of like stop doing so many drugs because that's not appealing. Fix myself first and then maybe. But I don't. You know what, man? I think I can live my life single.
Oh, cool.
I'm cool with it. I don't think I want kids.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Like this is for me like music podcasting is life. I live and breathe this shit. I wake up. I barely got any sleep like on Friday night because I was so excited. I woke up early today. I woke up fucking like 5 a.m. I was working on an album cover. I sent it to the
Oh
guy I
shit.
work for.
Okay.
But like this is like my life, man. Like I love this shit. I wake up, fuck podcasting time. I listen to podcasts in the morning. I listen to some like that's like my CNN podcast.
Yeah.
And then I fucking do it, and then I listen to music, and then I do it, and it's this fun cycle. And to me, it's like I don't know if I can really commit to like a relationship where it's like fair, because you do have to commit.
Yeah.
And I think I've been single for so long. I like it. I mean, sure, I'll date once in a while, but very rarely. But I'm okay with it. I know that this is what I want to do, and hey, when that time comes, that girl, I'm not gonna chase girls. They're gonna have to like talk to me.
Yeah.
But like that's just my opinion.
I think wherever you are at is where you're at now. You know,
Yeah.
and it's like that idea of being present, right?
Yes.
And being like, you know, the power. You know, Eckhart Tolle.
Now.
the
I'm fucking heavy. The
Dude,
power of now.
power
There's
of
no
now.
future. It's all now. Anything that's ever happened is now. The future technically doesn't exist.
No, yeah, and that like if you think about it, like if you get deep into physics and stuff, like shit, like if we were able to go to the fourth dimension of time and stuff, you would basically see all of time, basically beginning and end. There is no like direction. This idea of that we're going forward in time is because that's how humans process time, you know. The real existence is like is the now, right? And that's so crazy because like he's been getting like more popular now, but like that dude, like I got into him recently and his Oprah talk, and it's like that shit connected with me, you know. Yeah.
He has some stuff on SoundCloud, like the Power Now Part 1, like some got deleted.
Yeah.
But no, I've listened to him a few times past couple of years, and it's so true. Like,
Right.
it's, you know, cool. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
man.
you so much. Oh yeah, last thing. Last thing.
Yeah.
Do you know any Tagalog? Any language corner for us?
Mustafa is hello. Anong balita is what's the news.
Okay.
That's all the appropriate things I can say.
How do you say what's the news?
Anong balita.
Anong balita?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like what's going on.
Yeah.
That's like literally means what's the news.
Yeah, and then like pare is friends. Hey pare, like that's like pare is friend.
Okay, dope. Longest podcast. I think we beat it.
This is 225.
Oh my gosh.
My
I mean,
gosh.
yeah. Hey, thank you so much.
No problem.
I do.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you for
Awesome.
coming. All right.
No problem.